Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary Salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yamin of Revolution. Justice or death? Justice for our little brother Nolan Wells. Before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Let's get right into the content today. Salute.
Right here, you see an alleged message from Katie Hudson Seymour, who is the biological mother of Warren Hudson, who is pretty much the spokesperson for all the white kids that were around during Nolan Wells' death. And this is a message that she sent to Boogie Lowdown on Facebook after he posted a lot of pictures and information concerning the death of our young brother Nolan. I'm going to read some of these messages to you. But first, let's take a look at Miss Hudson. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. And Katie Hudson is the biological mother of Warren Hudson and somebody who we have not taken a very close look at because of the actions and the suspicions of Judge Ashley Cole, which are very much warranted. But we must remember that Katie Hudson Seymour also loves her son very, 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 very much and will do anything in the world to make sure that he is all right. So let's look at Katie real quick. So this is her page, Katie Hudson Seymour. You see she's the owner and founder of Tour de Coast. University of Southern Mississippi is where she attended school. And look at this picture up here. Now, evidently, this is Katie. I think she's the one in the tan pantsuit in the middle, along with some other females on the bottom. And then at the top, you see Warren in the middle. And maybe that is her current husband, Mr. Seymour. And I guess that is Wyatt's little brother. Remember the little brother who was reportedly got into the fight, which we have also not heard much about. But looking at that picture of this little brother, I am reminded of a video that I have posted about that particular altercation on the beach, which a lot of people are still not talking about. Let's take a look at it. You see, this is a still shot of the video of the white boy on the beach that got, is buddied up or bloodied up, it looks like. So if you go back and forth to this picture and this picture, you see that the little brother in this picture definitely looks like the boy in this picture, even though it's kind of blurry, but, they have the, same frame and the same head shape. And, I've watched this a couple of times and it definitely looks like him. Let's put them side by side real quick. So this is an aspect that many people have not explored. With the interview with Officer Ruckus, Warren explicitly stated that, he had went over to where his brother was fighting at, and, he got into it with some other guys and things like this. This is possibly the altercation that his brother got into. Nobody is really talking about that, right? Because that looks exactly like the young man. Nevertheless, at the beginning, at the onset, at the genesis of this case, Warren's mother reached out to this guy, allegedly, and his guy's name, Boogie Lowdown, on Facebook. And I'm going to read what the text messages said or the DM said, which contradicts a lot of the information that we have begun to gather as this case have went on. Just watch. And here, you read it. Sunday at 11:26. Good evening, Mr. Roll Down. I am Warren's mother, the woman you have been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family I am here to tell you that we all Nolan and are all deeply distraught. Maybe she meant we all love Nolan. Your information is not correct, and I ask you to please stop posting about Warren and our family. My son did not ride out with him, nor did he come back with him. Now, how do you know all of this? The boat that Nolan was supposed to get on, Wyatt boat. He repeatedly asked Nolan to get on boat at 5. She must not be very smart because she says get one boat at 5 when it was time to leave. But Nolan wanted to stay with a girl and their boat was parked next to his. So she's saying that Katie's boat was parked next to his. He was insistent about staying with this girl. Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and people heard him. My son loves him and would never in 1,000,000 years leave him. Warren does not even have a boat. Nolan has been our house several times, and he is the sweetest friend. We all adore him. Again, when Wyatt asked for him to get on, he said he wanted to stay, and Wyatt's boat started to fill with water. His boat ended up breaking down and was towed in. I don't know this girl that he wanted to stay with. I can just tell you, though, my son had nothing to do with it in any way, shape, or form. A matter of fact, he was the first person that noticed he was missing when they got back to their friend's house and called his mother, the Coast Guard, and the sheriff's office. Warren is very responsible and always keeping up with everyone else. He was not on the boat again. Please stop hurting us. My son is beside himself. Now, I've never seen him like this before, and I ask you to please stop the blame. This is not the boy's fault. Nolan wanted to stay with this girl and was insistent. I ask you to take my picture down off of your wall and my son. I brought my other son out there, and I saw my son Warren briefly and took a picture that we were not out there with them longer than 10 minutes. I don't know how you're trying to link it all together, but I am just Warren's mom, and I love Nolan very much. He came to my house several times, and I'm so sad. Please keep this down and look for this on prayers for finding him. She's not very smart. I mean, low down, not row down. Also, I just want to let you know, this whole day we have been looking for him has been devastating. I don't even know any way any of this was being said. I had friends with taking this lady is really slow. I had friends with taking pictures of these messages. I am going to get off of social media. I was advised this is very destructive. I just ask you, please take it down, as I don't want us to get any more messages about this. Man, that was tough. Man, I felt like I've been set back 3 grades in elementary school reading that. That was, woo. I mean, I guess, beauty is everything. Definitely not brains. And I don't know if she's beautiful or not. But nevertheless, this right here is very, in my opinion, contradictory. And I'm going to tell you why. First, he said it was at 5. It was at 5 when Wyatt asked him to get on the boat. Now, everybody and their mama says it's 4:30 when they asked him. So that's one red flag about that. Then she said, I brought my younger son out there. And we took a picture and, we stayed for about 10 minutes. Now, is it her younger son also Wyatt's little brother? So where were you at when the fight started? Or did you leave him there to get the fight started? Where is the picture of you and Warren and that surrounding area? You see, everybody has pictures, but nobody has pictures. Everybody, these pictures are trickling out one by one. But this lady clearly said, okay, I drove out there and I explicitly took a picture with my son. So there should be thousands. If there were hundreds of people, there should be thousands and thousands of video and pictures posted online. But yet We have one here, one there, a little snippet here, a little blurriness there, a little still shot of a video here. And so this is not evidence of a cover-up. I don't know what is. But let's take a look at this very elementary style written messages one by one and break it down again real quick. All right. She says, "Good evening, Mr. Roll Down. First of all, wrong name. I am Warren's mother, the woman you have been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family. I am here to tell you that we all Nolan." So that's the first mistake. She couldn't even type, "We all love Nolan and are all deeply distraught. Your information is not correct, and I ask you to please stop posting about Warren and our family." Once again, now they're playing the victim. "My son did not ride out with him, nor did he come back with him. The boat that Nolan was supposed to get on, Wyatt boat." Another short, incoherent sentence. "He repeatedly asked Nolan to get one boat at 5. Now, once again, when it was time to leave. So this is saying that they had already discussed that it was 5 when it was time to leave. But everybody is saying, well, no, we left at 4:30. So let's question that timeline between 4:30 and 5. But Nolan wanted to stay with a girl, and their boat was parked next to his. So that means Katie's boat was parked next to whoever boats that he was supposed to get on. He was insistent about staying with this girl. Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and people heard him. Now, everybody goes with that story, too. Well, we asked him to get on the boat. Everybody heard him. "My son loves him and would never in a million years leave him. Warren does not even have a boat. Nolan has been our house several times, and he is the sweetest friend. We all adore him." Again, when Wyatt asked for him to get on, he said he wanted to stay, and Wyatt's boat started to fill with water. His boat ended up breaking down and was towed in. I don't know this girl that he wanted to stay with. I can just tell you, though, my son had nothing to do with it in any way, shape, or form. A matter of fact, he was the first person that noticed he was missing when they got back to their friend's house and called his mother, the Coast Guard, and the sheriff's office. So Warren was the first person to notice that he was missing out of everybody else, right? And they're very adamant about, they keep saying Wyatt kept asking him to get on the boat. Now, Warren kept saying, my buddy was calling him. My buddy was asking him to get on the boat. And he is always responsible in keeping up with everyone else. He was not on the boat again. Please stop hurting us. Once again, the victim. My son is beside himself. Well, we can not tell that he's beside himself in any of those interviews. I've never seen him like this before, and I ask you to please stop the blame. This is not the boy's fault. Nolan wanted to stay with this girl and was insistent. I ask you to take my picture down off of your wall and my son. I brought my other son. This is where it gets tricky. I brought my other son out there, and I saw my son, Warren, briefly, and took a picture that we were not out there with them longer than like 10 minutes. So she says, we, does that mean you and your other son? Y'all just drove way out to the island to take a picture. I don't know how you're trying to link all together, but I am just Warren's mom, and I love Nolan very much. He comes to my house several times, and I'm so sad. Please keep this down and look for this on prayers finding him. I mean, this lady is extremely non-grammatical. Also, I just want to let you know that this whole day we have been looking for him. It has been devastating. I don't even know any of this was being said. I had friends with taking pictures of these messages. I am going to get off social media. Please do, because your sentencing is very detrimental to my intelligence. I was advised, as this is very extractive. I just ask you to please take it down, as I don't want us to get any more messages about this. Now, once again, that message was sent early on. And the fact that she says, okay, well, we just drove way out to Horn Island for 10 minutes and took a picture. Are we supposed to believe that? We supposed to believe that. Now, also, you hear her keep saying Nolan has been to our house several times. So I think that is where we are sort of going off the cuff with it, because keep in mind, Warren did probably stay with his biological mother. As you see in that picture, it looks like, they have a big house where all of their Brady Bunch family can live in. Very rarely do the sons stay with the dad, which they do sometimes. So Ashley Cole and Warren Hudson, once again, they should be very scrutinized as well. But we fail to realize that if Warren stayed at his mother's house, that would be the house that he would always be over. So it would be Katie who would know Christine or Nolan's mom. It will be Katie who would have the relationship with Nolan if he's over there all the time with Warren. And so that is a little explored aspect of, the possibility of Katie coming out there and like, oh, shoot, because I've been in some situations with some brothers and we did some dirt, and first thing they do is call their mama. I never did. I try to hide everything. But a couple of brothers, first thing they did, if we got into some real sticky situations, they'll call their mama. So I would assume that, if something did happen to Nolan that was less than an accident, pretty sure they called his mama. And then so his mama rode out there for 10 minutes just to take a picture and went back. That doesn't make sense to me. And so there's so much information, man. There's so many theories that, I'm kind of fed up with the theory, trying to theorize something. We're looking for concrete evidence of something happening to him. We know that there's a lot of lies, there's a lot of misconceptions, there's a lot of deceit, there's a lot of blank spaces in this investigation. And we know something happened to him that is just not, he just disappeared and drowned. We all know that's not true. So thank everybody for watching and, sending all of the information. And
and let's just talk about the CETO call, okay? The CETO call is a real call. Where is the district attorney? Somewhere hiding with her tail between her damn legs, because she put out a video basically telling us we got to present everything to a grand jury. But my question is, you don't just present a case to the grand jury unless you have a suspect. But there's been evidence after evidence after evidence. And again, we're just going to get into the stuff we can prove, okay? They have been running this bullshit narrative to us as if Nolan Wells drowned, double talking, all while saying, we're going to present it to the grand jury, all while the, who is this idiot? The governor of Mississippi come out to say, this is nothing to see here. This is a drowning. This is a mass cover-up, guys. Let's get into what the district attorney, who is clearly working to cover up what her friend, and this is what I want y'all to understand, the district attorney in this Nolan Wells case and the judge, they work for the same place, which means that the district attorney's cases that they have prosecuted have went to this judge. They are friends, okay? It's not like they don't know each other. So you tell me, you have a friend that you are very friendly with at work, and somebody shows you evidence that their son could have overwhelming evidence been involved in an unaliving. What would you do? Us good Black folks, we're going to say, we're going to hand it off to somebody else. Because one thing about us is we are ordinarily good people. unlike those barbaric animals, we normally want to see justice no matter who or what color you are. That's just who we are. But let's get into what this district attorney put out, which is bullshit statement.
Our community is grieving the tremendous loss of Nolan Wells, who is loved and treasured by everyone. Nolan's family deserves answers, and our community deserves answers. Every death in the county, except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks, are presented to your grand jury. Many people don't know that. We have handled death investigations in this manner my entire career. Nolan's case is being handled the same way, with the same care and the same commitment to the truth that we handle all death investigations. I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands. Since Nolan was reported missing, local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have worked around the clock investigating what happened to him. Every piece of evidence must be examined. Every credible lead must be followed to its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise, supported by the evidence and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve. I also understand that many people have questions about why more information has not been released publicly. In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation. Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation and the grand jury proceeding. As your district attorney, I have an ethical obligation to avoid public statements that could influence witnesses, prejudice a proceeding, or compromise the fairness of the.
Did you guys hear what she says? As a district attorney, she can't make statements. I want you all to remember that. That's the number one thing she said that is true. But, I guess it doesn't apply to her governor, who is a very important position. So listen to what she's saying. But she's also full of bullshit.
Legal process. My obligation extends to and requires me to use reasonable care to ensure investigating agencies avoid making those statements and releasing information as well. These rules exist to protect the search for the truth, not to prevent it. As divided as the discussion surrounding Nolan's death has become,
it's only divided because you ain't doing shit.
I know we all want the same thing to.
We actually don't. We don't, because what you folks want is you want these boys and their families to get away with it. Because if this comes out, it is so many people involved, including you. You are trying to cover it up as well.
Understand what happened to Nolan. With that being our shared goal, we must also share in the goal.
If you live in Mississippi and you want to see justice, get this lady out of office. Throw her in the trash can where she belongs. This lady is trash, and I'm going to prove to you that she's trash. Don't believe her. If you guys recall, retired Judge Carlos Moore says she talks a good, nice Southern word salad. I can't stand people that use word salad. Get to the point, okay? This lady is blowing smoke up everybody's ears. This is what she's doing. She's full of it.
Of protecting the integrity of how the truth is discovered. If we sacrifice the integrity of the process in effort to satisfy today's questions, we risk undermining the confidence in tomorrow's answers. When the public asks, what about this? Or have they looked at that? Or did they think about this? The answer is yes. Those are the same questions investigators ask. The difference is that we can't publicly discuss the evidence, the interviews, or what.
We can't publicly. I want you guys to remember those words.
What those efforts have uncovered while the investigation is underway. Again, our restraint in sharing details of the investigation is not a refusal to share the truth. It is our commitment to protect the process that allows the truth to be known with confidence. There's a lot of information out there, and there is a heck of a lot of misinformation out there. I simply want the community I serve to know that this investigation is being handled with the care, professionalism, and commitment to the truth that every family in Jackson County deserves. As we continue this important work, Nolan's family, his friends, and all who loved him remain in our prayers.
She's full of shit, okay? For one, we have saw the FBI get involved, and I told you all were saying the FBI was involved, and I told you the FBI was there to investigate threats. Okay, they should. But what about the threats to the victim's family? Okay. What about the threats to them? Why are we running after these nasty white folks that seem to have been involved in the unaliving of Nolan Wells? And it seems to me, now I wasn't there, but I am entitled to the damn way that I feel, and I'm not changing it. It seems to me that they even if they didn't unalive him, that they know who did. That's what it seems like to me, okay? Now, she made this great grand word salad ass statement about how they cannot come to the media and make statements. Okay, I can understand that, but you also can come to the media and say when things are fake. You're not going to send your investigation in one way or the other. But what happened is that this person came out, contrary to what this lady just said, that, we can't come out and make statements. You know what she never did? She never came out and made a statement after a public official of the state of Mississippi, the bullshit governor, came out and basically says, this case is nothing to see here because Nolan Wells drowned, which nobody believes that, okay? But did you see this woman come out and say, please disregard that? No. What these folks do is they protect each other, okay? And if you were white, maybe they will protect you too. But I feel like as Black folks, we have to protect each other, and we need to not be in these spaces. And I'm going to tell you how I made some changes to my household. Okay. We don't mess with y'all. Okay. We don't trust you. We're nice to you. Hi, bye, but we ain't going nowhere with you. We ain't being secluded with you. I had to tell my son just the other day, we don't roll like that. We're nice, hi and bye. But as a grown ass adult, and I'm grown as hell, I just realized something, that I was wrong in what I thought. When I thought about Tamala Horsford, who had been knowing these folks for at least 5 years, went to a slumber party and just suddenly was unalived and nobody knew anything. It led me to believe that they may want to be in proximity to us because we fly as hell, okay? But they really don't like us, okay? And I had not even realized that, okay? Because I don't care. But it's important because if you want to be safe, don't be around these people like that, because if something were to happen to you, they're all going to stick together, and you could have been friends with them for all your life. Look at Nolan Wells. Nolan Wells, although they may not have been best friends, they went to school with each other, I think, since middle school or something, and they didn't give a damn. See, what you need to understand is some white people like you like they like their dog, okay? I'm just going to be honest. It's different. It's a different kind of like, but I need you guys to understand that you need to be safe, be nice, be cordial. Don't trust them. Okay. That's what I'm teaching everybody in my family. Don't trust them because and so here's the deal. There's some you can trust, but the bad side to that is you'll never know, because do you want to know when you end up unalived? Okay. Because if they can pretend to be your friend, how do you know that they're not? You won't. So you have to guard your life because it's the only thing you have. And it's not worth you losing it because you thought somebody was your friend. I would rather say hi and bye, Well, I ain't coming to your house. You ain't coming to mine. I'm not going nowhere with you by myself if it ain't nobody black there. And when I say somebody black, I mean a real black person, not someone that wants to be seen as, you know, in the white space. It's okay. Not them type of folks. Now, what we learned is that the governor, after she just gave this beautiful speech about how she can't talk about the case, but she never came out to say what the governor said. See, the governor, although this governor of Mississippi is trash, and I don't know how, you know, they say the population is 40% black people. I don't know how y'all voting for a racist governor, but I digress. Why didn't this district attorney come out and say something? She's part of the problem, and I'm going to show you how she's part of the problem.
Public safety has been in contact with those individuals. Obviously, the autopsy was done by the state medical examiner's office at the Department of Public Safety. I personally know Sheriff John Ledbetter from Jackson County very well. I have not personally spoken to him. I have full confidence that he is going to do his job. And what I will simply say is I don't know all of the details. I don't know all of the facts surrounding the case. I have yet to see a fact or a piece of evidence that suggests any foul play.
He has yet to see any evidence that suggests foul play. Did y'all hear that? So what he's saying is there's nothing to see here. You know, people drown all the time. Why would he say that? Didn't she just say that they can't make statements about the case, but yet the governor is making statements about the case? Do you guys not see something wrong here? They are playing in our faces. Not only are they playing in our faces, they want to try to tell us that they're suing. And I'm saying, ho, bring it on. Bring it on. This will be the best lawsuit. Bring it, bitches. I want you to bring it. I'm not stopping. As a matter of fact, I said it, I'm gonna say it again. I done speeded up production. We getting this thing going, okay? The governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves, who was allegedly wearing blackface. I think that's what they say about him. I don't know. I have not saw it, but I believe it to be true. This dude is racist. He says there's nothing to see here except for, you know, he said another black body. Oh, well, but he has yet to see any evidence. You guys should ask yourself, why would he see any evidence at all? He's not in a law capacity. He's not an officer. Why would he see any evidence? It's because it's a cover-up. I did a video, and this guy is very familiar with the guy that works for the Cajun Navy. And this is why I don't believe shit the Cajun Navy says. They're all tied together. They're all tied together.
But if there is, I feel confident that the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, the members at the Department of Public Safety that deal with these crimes, if there had been one.
Should there or if there had been one. So what are we going to the grand jury for? Because nothing to see here. I mean, I want y'all to understand this district attorney needs to be arrested and put in prison herself. She knows that she is covering up a crime. She's covering up a crime, and you all need to get her out of there, get you another person, and she needs to go to prison as well.
They will find it, and they will do what is necessary.
Keep in mind, he said there's nothing to see here. These are the type of black folks that I like. I'm sorry, white folk that I like. None of these that you just showed. I'm gonna show you guys a video because I like white people that understand that we live in a world that the opposing folks, which is the white tea folks, love to oppress people that look like me. They love to try. They love to put in systems and different mechanisms in place so that it can be hard for you and it can be hard for me. That's just what they love to do. They hate to see us rise to the occasion. They hate to see us living in our big, beautiful house. They hate to see us driving nice cars. They hate to see us going to the spas because they want to oppress you. They want you to suffer. You know, there could have been a jealousy element with, you know, Nolan Wells. Everybody said he had a beautiful spirit. You know, he was in, you know, sports. You know, everybody loved him. Now, you and I may not see that as something to be jealous about because, you know, we love it. Like, we want to see our Black children succeed. But when you were taught to hate a certain hue of people, that may have been a problem to some of those individuals. Now, I'm going to switch gears because before I show you what I'm going to show you, I want you guys to listen to Judge Carlos Moore. Now, what Judge Carlos Moore is going
needs to be held accountable.
Talk about is how you go about getting an indictment. Okay, we can go and look this thing, you know, these things online, but when he has been in the capacity in Mississippi as a judge, he knows the process. And even the little evidence that we have saw would have been enough to bring these boys or whoever else was involved in for an arrest record, which means you get your fingerprints taken, and none of that has happened. So this is how the district attorney is involved, because she is not protecting the citizens of Mississippi. And this is why you need to send this hoe to the unemployment line. She needs to go, okay? You need to, you know, if you need to rent a bus, get a whole bunch of people, get them to the polls and get this whore out of there. She needs to go. Angel needs to go.
Accountable. Needs to go before a jury of their peers and need to let that jury of their peers decide their guilt or innocence. The standards for an arrest warrant is simple, probable cause to believe a crime has been committed. The judge has to have probable cause, more likely than not, that a crime has been committed for an arrest warrant to be signed. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt, it's probable cause, more likely than not. That's a very low burden to meet.
That is a very low burden to meet. You and I, as regular everyday citizens, based on their inconsistent stories, even a CETO call, they have enough to arrest people, these people involved. Why have they not done it? Because it is a cover-up. They are covering for the judge, her raggedy ass son. They're covering for the other sons. His pappy is a doctor. This person does this. They are covering up for each other. And if one fall, they all fall. Well, one person we could start with is the district attorney. She needs to be arrested. If you guys want to see something done, you need to vote not red, because all of these people are nasty MAGA folks.
And the evidence needs to get to a judge pretty soon. We know that won't be the end all, just because there will be an arrest at some point. I do believe it's still going to be a long process.
So I just wanted to show you guys that part in which the previous judge talks about the burden of, just bringing these people in, which we know has not happened. Now, this part I just ran into online, but because I was resting a little bit yesterday, I did not want to jump on here. But good old white lady, again, these are the white folks that I mess with. I'm not pulling teeth with nobody, trying to be cordial with them. And I'm also not dealing with you if you don't think that your people are racist, okay? Can Black people be racist? No, I'm just going to say that, because we don't have systems in place to oppress anybody, okay? We might not like you, but that's racist and prejudice are two totally different things, okay? But I want you guys to we're going to get into this video. Okay, I'm going to play the audio. The purpose of this video, this good old white lady goes to Horn Island, and y'all know what? There is video everywhere. You know, they try to tell us that there's no video, there's no camera. Oh yeah, it is. There's camera right on Fort Bayou. Every place that they went, there's a camera. So why is it that they seem, or should I know, the district attorney seems to be uncertain? She needs to be arrested. She needs to be thrown in prison. And I want you guys to understand, the statute of limitation for this crime is forever, okay? So she can still go to prison, and that is exactly where she needs to be. This good old white woman, I don't know who she is, so shout her out if you guys know who she is. I just happened to find the video online. She is going around in Horn Island, honey, and she identifies camera after camera after camera. So what does this mean? It means the district attorney knows exactly what happened, even if they lied, because she would have been able to get the cameras. And if she didn't get it, that is simply because she knows what happened, and she knows that this is a cover-up. Again, if you live in Mississippi, you need to get this hoe out of there. Send her back to the unemployment line. So I'm going to play this video in full. You guys are going to be able to see the audio, but this good old white lady shows you all that she went to Horn Island. Let's get into it.
So what else? That's the island. That is how long it is. It is pretty long, guys. Yeah. That's the west end, or that's the east end. And it's light. And then over here is going to be the west end, and this is the washing machine that they're talking about. Water is pretty choppy today, but that is the island. There's some houses right there. The next place I'm going to take you to is over by Lover's Lane, so you guys can see how much housing and stores are over there that have possible footage. Wait a minute, you guys. There's fucking cameras on the fucking pavilion, and they can't even
camera. Cover up?
So they don't work because there's a fucking solar panel. Cameras everywhere out there. Every fucking
Cameras everywhere. Cameras everywhere.
Okay, so I have now made it to Old Fort Bayou Pier, where they pull in to a stop. This is an oyster house right here, and then next to it is a fireworks stand. Now, I don't see any cameras here, but let me get my car and I'll show you where there's cameras. Let's do fast walk. Where are my friends? What's that?
There's a lot of cameras.
Oh, what's that? It's camera, guys.
Cameras.
What white? That's nice. Okay, we are now over here. So that is how far the oyster house is. I want to show you guys something. That fancy house over there.
If Nolan Wells wasn't on the boat, there's a whole bunch of cameras to prove it. If Nolan Wells wasn't on that boat and you all didn't store his body and bring him back or whatever you did, show the cameras, okay? They showed us cameras where it was, you know, we can see that Nolan was there and they were leaving. Why is it that we never saw the cameras when they came back?
See cameras? See lights. I wonder if there's a camera there. I'll have to go on the other side of that bridge and see what's going on. Now, where the ramp is, there is a drawbridge up there because it's a short.
Have you guys counted how many cameras? I'm not. It's just cameras, cameras, cameras. And if you guys think about this, in your neighborhood, everybody has a damn camera. Cameras are in cars now.
So I'm sure there are cameras there. They have to have cameras, which are state law. I'll look it up. Now, this is where they would have come in on. Put these fancy over here. Come in, walking this dog.
Cameras.
There's your cameras. Maybe them. Or maybe them. Sorry.
So you telling me none of those people had cameras?
All right, let's look at this. We're going to walk on this side of the dock so you guys can get a better understanding of what we're looking at over here. Okay, we are on the other side of the dock. And I want you guys to take a look at this. That's a catfish house. They are definitely have cameras. I'm like, what are these houses? You can tell me this house is on there. Next stop to Lover's Lane. Which one would be Lover's house? That, my friends, is Lover's Lane. And you're going to tell me that ain't question. None of them houses. By the way, that's a restaurant. That's a restaurant. So they have even better view. But they're not questioning any of these motherfuckers. Should have these houses. This is a historical home. Registered for the state of Mississippi. No, they have cameras. I'm just saying. Oh, look. My friends are on the cameras.
Cameras. They're everywhere. Yeah, the district attorney needs to go to prison. She needs to go to prison. Isn't that crazy how the people that's supposed to serve and protect is the #1 criminals?
All right, so we're gonna get back on Lover's Lane. I just have to explore the little neighborhood that has on the side there. All right, this is back on Lover's Lane. So this is where one of the home people live. I'm not sure if it was male or female. Okay, now we are in Lover's Lane. We're gonna go back up to this guy's fancy business. I'm in this direction. You know, this is a good idea. Wait till you see this next one. It's quite interesting. I bet you $1 million at these houses. I promise. Well, I'm not going to stop to look at everyone, but make good job here. Okay. Island right there.
So you guys get my drift. This is a massive cover-up. The reason why nobody is arrested is because they never had any intention on arresting anybody. The only reason why they're pretending that there's this investigation is because the internet has been talking about this case. There's cameras everywhere over Horn Island, everywhere, okay? The district attorney, she's covering this case up. She needs to be arrested as well. Y'all let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Update, and this is truly breaking news. Forget everything you know. Forget what the government officials told you. Forget what the police told you. Forget what the boys' lawyers told you. Forget everything you know, because we have verifiable boots on the ground journalism about Horn Island, about the path of the boat, where they stopped, and now the curious missing evidence. What am I talking about? The cameras, the cameras, the cameras, the cameras, not just on Horn Island, but every place that boat was rumored to stop, every GPS stop, it was monitored 24 hours. Don't believe me? Let's get into this boots on the ground journalism to show that the Nolan Wells case just got a huge leap forward. Ben Crump, as far as we know, has subpoenaed all this. We'll talk about the way he may be getting pushback in Ocean Springs, but for right now, let's talk about the breaking news that there were cameras, not just on the dock, but everywhere. Let's go. Okay, so I want to start this off with Nerdy Pink Panda. She does a great job of mapping out the GPS coordinates. That the other boots on the ground journalism is going to blow up everybody's spot, all right? So listen to this. It's only 30 seconds, but you need to know and look carefully at the map to know where everything is, okay?
Girl's house that I will call Ava D. Right here in the yellow is where the party was at.
Pay
You can almost
attention.
perfectly plot out every dock that they stopped at on this little trip of theirs before they went to the boat dock.
Okay, there's Horn Island right there.
Okay, this is boots on the ground journalism. This is Bree, Jess Bree. She did God's work and went right into the heart of Ocean Springs, the town that sticks together, the town that doesn't let anybody mess with it. And the information she found, she said, let's go through Nolan Wells and the boys' alleged last moments on July 4th, Horn Island, Fort Bayou, and Lover's Lane. Pay attention to what she's saying, all right? Let's go. This is Horn Island.
Looks like there's a sailboat out there, maybe.
Okay.
It's up in the water.
That's the island. That is how long it is. It is pretty long, guys. That's the west end, or that's the east end. That's the west end, or that's the east end.
And this light.
Oh.
And then over here is going to be the west end, and this is the washing machine that they're talking about.
Hold on.
Water is pretty choppy today, but that is the island. There's some houses right there. The next place I'm going to take you to is over by...
So that's the island. And there are some houses, right? there are some houses that are super, super close to the island. However, all these houses that she's about to show you are multi-million state-of-the-art houses with state-of-the-art surveillance systems. But it doesn't stop there. Hold on, y'all.
Lover's Lane, so you guys can see how much housing and stores are over there that have possible footage. But yeah, let's get to the end of this pier. Wait a minute, you guys. Look, there's fucking cameras on the fucking pavilion.
Not just this pavilion, but many people say on every pavilion there are cameras for public safety concerns, but also for security concerns. Let's not forget the people that own these multi-million-dollar houses. They are the high society of Ocean Springs. Ocean Springs is not a place without crime, either stealing boats, stealing things. I'm not saying it happens a lot, but you know how rich people are about their property. Well, I guess anybody about their property. If you come in through the docks, right, you can have boats and break into houses. You can steal, but you can also steal boats. You can steal equipment. Again, it is heavily monitored, not even to mention the flock cameras, but let's keep going.
And they can't even say they don't work because there's a fucking solar panel. Now, I know you see me watching you.
Now, sorry to pause. I just want to point out what she said. Nobody can say those cameras do not work. Oh, it was a malfunction. Oh, electricity. Because there are solar panels next to each surveillance camera that is angled to see every person walking up to the dock and also leaving the dock. This is not just this dock. This is reportedly every dock. But let's keep going.
And I know you see me watching me. There's literally cameras everywhere out here, y'all. Every fucking where. Okay, so I have now made it to Old Fort Bayou Pier where they pulled in.
Let's not forget, again, Old Fort Bayou Pier where they pulled in.
To a stop. This is an oyster house right here, and then next to it is a fireworks stand. Now, I don't see any cameras here, but let me get in my car and I'll show you where there is a camera because I'm too fat to walk. For reference. What's that? Oh, what's that?
Old Fort Bayou boat ramp area. If they stopped in Old Fort Bayou, this is one of the areas they would have had to stop at. There is a camera aimed directly there.
This camera, guys, with a light. What is this, guys? Fort Bayou. Boat ramp. Okay, we are now over here. So that is how far the oyster house is. I want to show you guys something. Look at that fancy house over there. Y'all see the cameras? Some lights. I wonder if there's a camera over there. I'll have to go on the other side of that bridge and see what's going on. Now, where the ramp is, there is a drawbridge up there because this is a short bridge, so I'm sure there's cameras up there. They have to have cameras. I'm sure it's a safe law.
Cameras, they would have had to go under the bridge. She is sure, and I think so too, in any public thing, they would have cameras. Why? Because it is a drawbridge. The drawbridge is drawn up. You would actually need the cameras just in case there was some type of accident or for safety purposes.
I'll have to look it up. Now, this is where they would have come in at. Look at these fancy houses over here. That man walking his dog.
This is where they would have come in. You guys, these are multi-million-dollar houses.
Maybe them.
Again, you would have security cameras aimed toward the water. A lot of people could pull up and do God knows what to the people inside. All right. You would usually, for a price, to have cameras. Look at this.
All right, let's go look at some more. We're going to walk on this side of the dock so you guys can get a better understanding of what we're looking at over here. Okay, we are on the other side of the dock. And I want you guys to take a look at this. That's a catfish house. They are definite to have cameras in there. Look at these houses. Can you tell me none of these houses saw anything on their next stop to Lover's Lane? Which one on PT where Lover's Lane is?
The next stop is where they went to on Lover's Lane. Remember in the beginning when Pink Panther outlined where they said they dropped? This woman has gone to every place. And what do we see? Camera after camera after camera. Let's keep going.
That, my friends, is Lover's Lane. And you're going to tell me that I ain't questioned. None of them houses. By the way, that's a restaurant. That's a restaurant. So they have even better view.
We see houses, we see restaurants, they all have security cameras, and it is a great view.
But they haven't questioned any of these motherfuckers who own these houses. Look at that. This is a home registered for the state of Mississippi. You know they have cameras. I'm just saying. Oh, look. My friends found the cameras. You got something.
We see cameras on the drawbridge. We see cameras everywhere.
All right. We're going to get back on Lover's Lane. I just had to explore the little neighborhood they had to the side there. All right, this is back on Lover's Lane. So this is where one of them home people live. I'm not sure if it was a male or female. One of their shops was here on Lover's Lane. You're gonna die. The houses, they're beautiful. Not these houses. All right. Let me let's go there.
Look at this.
There's a house over there that had the gate completely padded up. You couldn't see through it, so I can only assume it might have been the house. But yes, this is, look at this. Can we go down? Yeah, baby. Water on every side with all these stunning houses. I just have to show you. Okay, now we are at the end of Lover's Lane. We're going to go back up. You're going to see all these fancy buildings coming over this direction. Zoomed out as much as I could. You get the idea. Look at that. Stunning. Yeah. Okay. And the biggest house had the most private gate. You'll see all these wrought iron gates, how they just open, and the people are chill and they don't care. Wait till you see this next one. It's quite interesting. And I bet you $1 million at these houses. Look at this. Now, I'm not going to stop to look at everyone, but make a joke up here. Okay. It's coming up. Here, ready? Go. You cannot see anything to this house.
This is one of the houses on the water.
Gate is concealed.
Y'all
Gates
ready for today?
concealed everything. You guys, this is a huge break in the Nolan Wells case. Even if the police did not subpoena this video footage, it has been less than a month. Ben Crump has sent out subpoena and preservation notices. This includes security. The fact that they're sitting here wondering what could have happened to Nolan, what boats were involved, how many people are on the boats, when those kids pulled up to the pier, each pier, whether they were going because, we're checking the boat, or whether they were dropping people off, or whether they were just floating by, there should be surveillance. There should be the surveillance of them going under the bridge. There should be, and again, this was in the afternoon. There should be surveillance of them going under the bridge. There should be surveillance of them going back. There should be surveillance of them on Lover's Lane. There should be surveillance on Fort Bayou, from restaurants, homes, private homes, public security cameras on top of flock cameras. Let's not act like rich neighborhoods do not have flock cameras to catch thieves. They have $1 million boats, $100,000 cars. Yes, those trucks, Ford F-150s and stuff, actually do go up to 150,000, right? Hundreds of thousands, or at least tens of thousands in cars, equipment, and God knows what else is in that house. Again, this changes everything. It has to be security footage. Now, the interesting thing is, will they get security footage? Again, will people cooperate? Now, with security footage, I think they keep it for somewhere between 30 and 90 days. I think it would be interesting if we saw that everybody erased their footage from July 4th, 5th, and 6th all around the water. But we have public security cameras, we have private home cameras, we have businesses and restaurants, and we have cameras that are on the bridges that they passed over. You guys, this is a break in the Nolan Wells case. Now, funny thing is, when they had all this footage, did they actually review it? Well, that depends on if you believe that the authorities are actually operating in the interest of the deceased, or whether they've made up their minds that it was an accidental drowning, and now they're doing their best to protect their family and friends from any criticism. Why would they do that? Well, listen to this little outline. Hold on, y'all.
Is Nolan Wells info drop? So first off, we remember these GPS coordinates that were plotted for us, remember? Those GPS coordinates were taken from Wyatt's boat, and they were plugged into Google Earth, and they developed a PowerPoint slide that we saw there that mapped out all of the points. So I decided to overlay those Google points on top of the points of the research that I'd already been doing. I discovered some interesting stuff, because if they were just overlaying it on Google Earth, it should have been easy as cake, right? Well, I cannot tell you how many hours I spent trying to perfectly overlay this. Like, look at the islands in the middle here. I get them lined up, and then other things won't match up. Like, you'll notice, like I said, these islands, look, they aren't moving, but everything else around it isn't working. So right away, my instincts are telling me that somebody manipulated this image to cover something up. Of course.
Now, why they would, we'll see, but let's continue.
Of course, that is alleged. I can't prove that, but it's supposed to just overlay. So honestly, I just did the best I could, and I mostly just focused on the top half, trying to get the marina and the grandparents' house they went to all line.
Now, we saw just from Bree that she went along the path, obviously on the road, not water. And there are cameras every single where along the path that they passed under. You see the bridge down there, and also that they passed under, but also the docks that they pass. There are cameras. And I'm willing to bet, because those boats were not yachts that had under deck, everybody that they said we should be able to see from the time they left Horn Island, how many people were actually on the boat.
I know. So now we can really follow which way this boat was driving and the kind of stops it seemed to be making. And if you'll notice here, it goes right next to that marina that I was telling you guys about.
The marina have cameras. We saw them.
With the Marty McGrath, which is who, according to Katie, that she got a ride from. So they passed the marina, and as you can see, it juts out almost like it was pulling up to this dock. And then there's these two houses here, especially this house, where it seems like the boat pulled into the docks there. Then it went all the way down here. There's a little like lock area here, so you have to go through here. And it went to the bridge. And
the bridge has cameras going and coming for public safety reasons.
I was like, why did they go all the way to the bridge to turn around? But it turns out right here is a big old fishing pier. Then right next to that is the Ocean Springs Yacht Club.
The yacht club is covered in cameras.
And a lot of these families are connected to the yacht club. Before I go on, I want to play a portion of this audio that's supposedly like a voicemail that has been going around. It hasn't been authenticated, but it has important information. Because
okay, so you guys, as you listen to this, please remember and keep in mind this has not been authenticated. But like she said, it does have information. Please do not take it for the truth of the matter asserted. We are looking more at the tone and I believe the emotional aspect of the call. Let's listen.
I'll be honest, it sounds genuine to me and it works with my data. So hold on.
But years ago, I'm just going to go back with Katie. We'll be right behind y'all. We were all going to the same house, the same place. He was like, I'll be right behind y'all. Y'all go ahead without me. I'll see y'all like... I'm literally gonna be right behind you, whatever. So, Wyatt and all them left because they were like, okay, you're just gonna go with Katie, whatever. Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house. And
so first off, all of us were going to go to the same place. I'm going to go in with Katie, meaning Katie was supposed to be at that party with them, or at least whoever Katie was with was supposed to be at that party, right? But that's not the important part. The important part is the name of the person who was throwing the party was Ava. Now, I found Ava. I'm not going to put her name out there, but simple Google searches will find this information. And I was able to basically just Google her name and find her address. And so the party was actually right in this yellow area. Again, I'm not going to be like pointing out people's houses, but I found it. After they leave this pier that's right next to the yacht club, they go all the way back and then they hook around and they go right next to where the party is. And then that's when they finally go and take the boat out of the water. Now, it seems to me like they were dropping people off, like, because look how it goes in a little bit, almost like it was pulling into this pier at the marina, like I suspected. And they were just making the rounds, dropping people off before the party. Now, her family and Wyatt's family, Warren's family, they're all connected. They're also part of the yacht club stuff. All of these rich families are super close, super connected. They're taking each other's kids on vacations, etc. Well, like just in May, there was a joint birthday party. In the background of this birthday party from the beginning of May, there's Warren's mom, there's his little brother, and right there in the background is the mayor of Ocean Springs, Bobby Cox. In fact, here's another picture of him from the party, just in case that profile view wasn't enough for you. Oh, and he was tagged in the picture. Oh, and remember Lieutenant Carone, the first person on the report that we see when
Lieutenant Carone was the one, I believe, got the first call and was investigating Nolan's disappearance, I believe.
Nolan's mom called him missing. As it turns out, someone that he's related to, I can't pinpoint exactly how the relation is, but their maiden name is the same as his last name. Yeah, turns out they have the same last name as who? The girl whose party it was. And I have confirmed that that woman is mutual friends of the mother of the girl who threw the party. And I'm going to go ahead and just wild guess theory. This is alleged, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that the reason they waited so long to tell the mom was they were waiting to make sure that he was on shift. This is why I'm thinking more and more that they brought Nolan back to the house. Everybody got their stories straight and stuff, and then they waited to tell Nolan's mom until he was going to be on his shift and taking that phone call, which is probably why nobody was sent out to look for him that fucking night. That's why we don't have any footage of them going back to the grandparents' house up there. That's why no pictures from this supposed party ever came out.
Listen, it is an interesting theory. Super interesting theory. Again, we do not know what actually happened, but I feel like we're getting closer to truth. I feel like Nerdy Pink Panther's theory is really giving us something to think about. Again, if the tow call was planned, and if somebody was setting up an alibi, and if you had connections to the local law enforcement, and you're setting up an alibi, if you wait until 11 to notify the mom when you're connecting the law enforcement actually starts working, then that would be the perfect thing. Because then they wouldn't go looking because everybody already knows what happens. And they would just tell the mom. And then the way the sheriff was like, oh, yeah, it looks like an accidental drowning. Again, if they thought everybody was on the same page, and if it was just an accident that happened and there's no point in ruining these boys' lives and, things like that happen, and they agree, well, they would think it was perfect. The only thing, if this is what happened, because who knows, right? It could also be nothing. He could have just naturally drowned. But if this was the plan, then the CTO call, they literally outsmarted themselves because the CTO call is the thing that chipped away at everybody's story and narrative. Again, nobody knows what happens. Everybody's trying to find out. But what do you think in the comments? Again, I'm just trying to find out, one, what happened to Nolan, and two, in the wrongful death suit, why did the police wait so long? What did Warren and them tell the police? And the police was like, oh, they're fine. How did Warren call somebody's mom and say they're missing and then go to bed, not care, and not contact the mom again for any reason? How did that happen? What actually is going on? Again, we are talking about how someone passed away, and we're also talking about the wrongful death suit that's coming up, because in the wrongful death suit, it's not the point that anybody purposely hurt someone. It's, could people have done more? And if they did more, would that have prevented somebody from passing away? At this point, I think we need to look at everybody's actions. What do you guys think? Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Fake ass friends, and we're going to get into what he did just the other day. He posted a cryptic message that we're going to get into, and it sounds like he's hinting to bragging on something, or he's acting like he's some type of damn stepper that witnessed something that he's supposed to be speaking on if he was Nolan Wells' real friend. But before we get into that, we're just going to be reacting and taking a look at some videos before we get into that, because I believe this video right here is going to bring back some hope. I really believe we're going to get some justice, because these boys cannot handle the pressure. And I'm going to tell you why.
Hey, Bree, thank you for that post that you're sharing regarding Liam, but we're going to rewrite it a little bit because those thugs are not Nolan's friends. So here we go. Did a video of this before, but since Liam is sharing little information more, why not? So apparently there's this lady who said that she saw, she messaged Eric and told Eric that I saw the fight or et cetera, what was going on. And she was telling Eric that if he doesn't take it to the police, that she was going to go and give it their information. Hopefully she's already done it, but that's how this is all coming together.
This is him, y'all. Eric Alcantara. Well, your name gonna be Eric Alcatraz if you keep it up. Hey, I just want to say I were a passenger on another boat and saw the argument between you guys, and will go to the police with this information. I also, okay, we're gonna get into his cryptic message, but let's go ahead and watch these videos. So this is somebody messaging him, the Eric Alcatraz, which is Nolan, one of Nolan Wells' fake friends. He's the one that was on the left of him on the boat. To our right, though. Let's get it.
She messages or DMs Eric. Eric blocked the girl or the lady. And then, however, Liam apparently sent some messages to Bree. And these I thought were very interesting and telling.
That's it. That's it right here, y'all. This dude decides to post when your parents ask about your day out, but everything you did was illegal, deserving a minimum of 10 years in prison. This is what he decides to repost in the midst of all this Nolan Wells stuff that's going on, knowing we're trying to get answers. He's not trying to get answers, but he claims that he's Nolan Wells' friend. But this is what you decide to post? Okay, we got you.
Did you do, Eric? What would warrant you guys to get 10 years or more if your parents knew what you guys did that 4th of July night or into the morning hours of the 4th of July? I mean, negligence of murder maybe, or I don't know. You tell us, since you made such a very, very bold statement.
And y'all see how we combing through each friend. Somebody's gonna break, because there was like 2 friends that wasn't familiar with their face because everybody was just focused on Warren and Bart. So these some more that's coming up, and somebody's gonna crack. I'm telling y'all, somebody's gonna break, y'all. Watch.
When I tell you these folks are moving and trying to shake, but we are on their asses and we are not letting up, because these are the alleged people who were with Nolan. Eli Jax Patello, Wyatt Pyron, Morgan Seymour, Eric Alcantara, Warren Hudson. And now that the last footage shows Nolan in a full argument
Jax
right before
Patello.
he was last seen, you have to ask yourself,
Bro, it's crazy. All of them privated their accounts, deleted their accounts. What are you running from, bro? If y'all want justice for your friend,
why would people who claim they were just hanging out need attorneys before the family even got answers? And why did they all go silent at the same time? And why does this footage feel like the moment that explains everything about why Nolan was unalived? So listen close to this audio, listen to the tone, listen to the shift, listen to the energy, and drop in the comments.
we got to get the names of these characters along with their faces. Check it out, y'all.
Right. Now remember, when we're making these facts, we have to be very specific. We have to allege what each one did. Remember, what did Wyatt do specifically? He failed to render help 3 times, twice on the phone with the CETO operator, once by calling the grandpa, not 911. What did Bart do? He lied about being there, said he was in Wyoming. His name was on the official Coast Guard report. His name was on the CETO call. All of these facts need to be in there. And I don't want you to say, oh, the boat was taken on water. You have to use the words he used. He said the boat was sinking and we're going down, okay? You have to find every single fact that these kids said. Go over to Warren. What did he say? He called the Coast Guard for 20 minutes, okay? Every single fact needs to be specific and correct.
I have not seen anybody at all personally make this connection in relation to what happened to Nolan Wells and what those boys allegedly and probably did to him. But those boys, they're not just from like some random area in Mississippi. They're from Ocean Springs. Ocean fucking Springs. The same Ocean Springs that regularly has its middle school and high school students ending their lives because of how bad the bullying is down there, because the people there are so fucking shit. Yeah, that Ocean Springs. Those boys are from Ocean Springs. So to me, that tells me everything I need to know about what the fuck happened here and what his fate really was, no matter how much that town and their families of the alleged perpetrators are like gonna be like fucking protecting them and whatever.
The same Ocean Springs, Mississippi, that 13-year-old Aubrey Wyatt ended her life after severe prolonged bullying at a middle school there. Then her mom, Heather Wyatt, files a wrongful death lawsuit against Ocean Springs School District, primarily centering on the fact that nobody did anything after multiple attempts to notify the school. This bullying went on to cyberbullying. And the Chancery Court judge that oversaw that case is the stepmother of one of the boys who was on the boat with Nolan. Judge Ashley Cole, the mom of Warren Hudson, who was on the boat and in that picture with Nolan on the day of the incident. Now, the creator who posted the video that I shared earlier has since taken the video down and made his page private. But before he did that, the comments on that video was very telling, y'all. There were a lot of people in that comment section that had a lot to say about Ocean Springs and how they try to cover everything up, about the rampant amount of nepotism there, not to mention substance abuse amongst the kids. It sounds like this rabbit hole is going to run much deeper than we originally thought. Rest in peace to Aubrey Wyatt. And rest in peace to Nolan Wells, and may his family get the justice that they truly deserve.
Well, there was something else that I found to be a little bit problematic in Ashley Cole's statement about Nolan Wells. And so I'm going to put her words back on the screen. I'm not going to read them. I'm going to put them back on screen because I want to show you something. Take a look at the highlighted part. Do you see how she says, yes, I am a judge. I also value transparency. That's two separate sentences, and that's by design. And now that you've seen that, I want to tell you something else. The structure of a closing argument is to establish credibility, deny motive, and reframe the story.
I don't understand how the damn tip line is going straight to her. And the tip line is going, I believe it was the sheriff or them. They don't need to be a part of no damn tip line at all, bro.
Now, if you read Ashley Cole's entire statement as a unit, does that not appear what she is doing? Because, see, the reason why she made those two separate statements is because she is trying to give you reasons to trust her. She is using her judgeship, but then she also uses the word also to stack transparency on top of the judgeship so that we would trust her in what she is saying while she denies motive and then reframes the story to point back at the family of Nolan Wells. But see, that all comes back to that highlighted part. And the reason why I showed you that is because I decided to take a look at the code of conduct for Mississippi judges, and I want to show you something else. Allow me to point you to Canon 2, Section 2B of the Judicial Code of Conduct adopted by the Mississippi State Supreme Court back in 2002. That's a lot of words, but that's what we're looking at. Anyway, specifically, look at the highlighted portion. I'm going to read it to you. Judges shall not lend the prestige of their offices to advance the private interest of the judges or others, nor shall judges convey or permit others to convey the impression that they are in a special position to influence the judges. In addition to pointing out that code of conduct rule, I also want to point out something to you in the preamble because it's also important. The commentary is not intended as a statement of additional rules. When the text uses shall or shall not, it is intended to impose binding obligations, the violation of which can result in disciplinary action. Okay, so this isn't something that's like you have a choice. See, me personally, I believe her statement should be evaluated for a potential violation of the Judicial Code of Conduct because she invokes her judicial office while vouching for Warren's account. And Canon 2B specifically says you cannot use the office to advance another person's private interests. So that statement alone is worth an evaluation, in my opinion. In addition to that one sentence hitting Canon 2B.
Meaning she's not supposed to be using her being a judge to help anybody. I don't give a damn if it was the family. That's law. So why the hell she's not being detained? But they could go way out in California and find some damn body under the damn shed somewhere who made a threat to her. What are we doing, bro?
I also think her statement in its entirety should be evaluated because Canon 2A, which is page 7 of the same fucking document, says that a judge at all times should act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the impartiality and integrity of the judiciary. And her releasing that statement does not do that. So that's two things that should be evaluated, in my opinion, if we want to be fair here. But
I'm going to keep coming back to this statement from Judge Ashley Cole because I truly feel like this is the thing that's going to get them jammed up. In her statement, she says that her son or stepson, whatever he is, Warren, last saw Nolan at around 3 p.m. Now, in the interview that Warren, her stepson's son, whatever he is, did, he gives a firsthand account of hearing his friend telling Nolan to get on the boat in a panicked way and hearing Nolan say no. How does that make sense when the last time you said you saw him was at 3 p.m., but the boat didn't get towed away until 4:30 something?
My buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking.
Bam, got him right there. He said, get on the boat, Nolan, get on the boat. The boat's having issues. Why the hell would Nolan get on a boat if it's having issues? And if it was having issues, is that when same time when you called? And when you called, you say you was outside the island. So were you on the island and it was having issues and you drove off? Why would you drive off if the boat having issues? And here, if Nolan was already on the island, the boat was already having issues. How the hell Nolan was gonna get on the boat? And then y'all so Nolan got on bruh, you messed up right there. If it's having issues, why the hell would he get on the boat? We gotta highlight these joints, bruh.
Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride it with somebody else.
Now, somebody help me make sense of this. Are you trying to tell us that you were on a boat that was so big that you heard all of this, but you didn't see Nolan? Like, I don't get how this would make sense. And the last thing I want to point out is that they finally released the entire phone call from the rescue. And yet again, there is one part that is still being cut off. And that is the part where she asked them how many people were on the boat.
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody.
How many? All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
And I know.
See, TMZ didn't think that we was going to get the whole joint. See? They cut out the joint. They cut it out. See, now everybody got the full audio. Before, we were just getting, they edited it. They did all this editing, and then they gave it to us. Telling you, TMZ is not to be trusted, y'all.
What you're thinking, it sounds like they got cut off, but if you go and listen to the entire audio on TMZ, you will see that there were other parts where they were losing service, and she still followed up with the question, and he was still able to answer. So the math is not mathing. I also want to point out that I know that there are numbers floating around out there about how many people were on the boat, because people keep reporting on a certain number of people being on a boat. But why are we not hearing that in the phone calls?
They take pictures with people before they kill them, the same way that they took pictures of the bodies that they lynched and put them on postcards, newspapers, printed them out, put them on a fucking on a fridge. They use code words when talking amongst each other over public airways, such as like phones, because they're not able to say, "Hey, I just killed a Black person." So they have to say, "We have a membership." They are so well connected that you aren't hearing anything from their side. Nothing. You're not hearing anything from their side. And that's because it was all orchestrated well before. And I'm not saying they intended on killing a specific person, but they did intend on killing someone. And when that takes place, nothing slips through the cracks. Nothing comes from our side. That's why all you have are phone calls. You know, people that went out there and looked around at the site. The Ku Klux Klan does not wear pointed hoods. They're not even, you know what else is crazy? They're not even the very obvious racists. Those people ain't part of the Klan that can really do some damage. Those people are just ignorant motherfuckers, right? They all ignorant motherfuckers. But the ones that you see, and you might have like a skull tattoo right here, and he has the American hat, those are actually the least threatening people. The real Klan are the judges, the police officers, the boat repairmen, the scout, the people, the rangers, the coroners, the taxi drivers, the newspaper publishers, the nurses, the doctors, pilots, attorneys, like state attorneys, even defense attorneys. The Klan, when we said they took their robes off, they put on uniforms. Teachers. We're watching history unfold, and I love to watch my people wake up to it. I saw a girl say, Why do they take pictures with the person before they kill them? And I wanted to say so bad because that's what they did when they does. And obviously this is lying. They would put us in postcards, take pictures next to a burning body, a mutilated body, and put pieces of the body in the mail, ship it to grandma, Gams up in Massachusetts. She would love to see this. I saw one person talk about how it feels spiritual because it is. I'm watching my people wake up. God damn it, I'm watching my people wake up and they feel good.
Y'all look up gator bait. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that, but y'all look up gator bait. So what she's saying is absolutely correct. It's like souvenirs to them people. They don't look at us as human, y'all.
I listened to the call, to the CETO call again, and I have a small update to my theory. I listened to the call again, and I learned something new from a commenter on my YouTube regarding the bilge pump. What I learned is that having an issue with your bilge pump should not cause you to sink. You're not taking on so much water that you're in imminent danger of sinking. If you're taking on that kind of water, there's something more significant wrong with your boat. But if you were to call CETO and you say that there's an issue with your bilge pump and you're maybe taking on a little bit of water, they would probably tell you to get to land because you could get yourself to land. I think that this kid didn't know that. I think that the kid only knew to say that we're taking on water, right? He knew that he was calling CETO. The purpose of calling CETO was literally just to give somebody on a recorded call coordinates because the kid was ready with the coordinates. He wasn't ready with how much water are you taking on? Couldn't answer that question because he didn't know what the right answer for that would be. And he wasn't actually observing anything. He just knew that he was tasked with calling CETO. He was ready with that, with the coordinates. He gave the coordinate that was very likely, most likely not where they actually were, but it would place them somewhere convenient for later. In my opinion, that was Grandpa's idea. In my opinion, because they dropped his name. They knew that CETO prioritizes or only really does work for members. And so they dropped his name specifically. And then he simultaneously calls the captain directly and says they don't need a tow. And I think that the call with Vicky, the dispatcher, took longer than the grandpa expected. He probably expected that it would have been a quick call. They would have said what the problem was, and then there would have already been a conversation with the captain because he didn't account for this kid being so difficult, because that's the other thing I noticed. This kid was a fucking asshole. How many kids on the boat? 0, none. Okay, how many adults on the boat? 0, none. Sir, how many adults on the boat? There's no adults. There's nobody over 21. You have time to be a smartass. You have time to place semantics when you're taking on water and drowning. So he made that call more complicated and difficult than it needed to be. So the call took longer than expected. So by the time
he was like, I don't know. We're just thinking. Just I don't know. What? You crazy.
Time that the grandfather called the captain to say, hey, you don't need to go out for this tow. The captain hadn't even gotten the call for the tow yet. So when Vicky finally gets through to the captain and she's like saying, listen, I'm so sorry. They're not really being clear on where they are or what they're doing or what's happening, but here's the situation. And they are really like there is a member involved, or they do have a member name, and they gave Jerry's name, and the captain goes, Jerry, I just got off the phone with him. So Jerry beat Vicky to contacting the captain for that reason. The call took longer than expected. He thought it was going to be a quick emergency call and that he would then quickly call the captain to tell him that he doesn't need to go out there. Don't worry about it. It's just the bilge pump. He's going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Because you'll notice too that the captain was like, yeah, I know. He told me it was something about the bilge pump. Yeah, I know. And he didn't think that that was an emergency, because an issue with the bilge pump is not an emergency. You're not imminently drowning or sinking. So that's what got fucked up. That just fucked the whole thing up for them, in my opinion. You establish the coordinates, and then Grandpa quickly calls the captain to say, don't go out there. because if you go to those coordinates, you're not going to find anybody. And in case it's not clear, I don't have actual information that is exactly what happened, or that's what he said, or whatever, or that's what he was thinking. If it's not obvious, but someone left a comment saying like, "Oh, slander, fucking." It's not clear that we're just throwing around ideas here, and I don't have internal special knowledge, and I'm not making an assertion. We're bouncing around ideas. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, I also got another comment by someone who was like, "Oh my God, good grief. There's no way someone could have thought of this that quickly. You don't think quickly on your feet. Your immediate
Man, listen, man, for those that saying there's nobody who could have thought of all of that quick, understand grandpa's used to that. I don't give a damn what his profession is. Them older guys in Mississippi understand the lineage that they come from. People don't think shit stink. These people are their ancestors, bro.
Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update, and something kind of odd that was brought to my attention by Bree Lee, an amazing creator who, if you haven't seen her, she has been going around Ocean Springs exposing how many cameras there are everywhere, showing that we should be able to see more footage than what we're seeing. Anyway, I'm digressulating. She turned me on to this post by a creator, Liam, on TikTok, who happens to be sharing posts from one of the boys who has since made his account private. And here is something that he posted. He says this, check this out. Your parents ask about your day out, but everything you did was illegal and could get you a minimum of 10 years in prison. Now, I'm not saying this means anything, but drinking is not going to get you a minimum of 10 years in prison. He didn't say a maximum. He said a minimum. And we're just saying, I'm not naming any names, but this is a very odd thing to post. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
But y'all, that's the end of the video. Y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this Alcatraz dude, Eric Alcatraz guy. Why are you posting a cryptic message about, well, it was actually a repost, but why would you repost that? Your parents asking you how your day was, and you know if you told them the truth that, well, I'm paraphrasing, that it could get you a minimum of 10 years. And then somebody texted him that, oh, I seen you and your buddies having this commotion on the boat. I'm going to the police. What? Everybody is going to get exposed. Everybody's going to get their 15 minutes of fame. And at the end, I believe the truth is about to come out, y'all. We just need to hit that right one, that right story. Because we already seen Bart was lying. We seen Warren was lying. We got to get Wyatt. Wyatt's left, and the other guy, he's left. So we working on Alcatraz right now. He posting little shit thinking he a damn stepper because he witnessed some shit. Now we got 2 more to go, y'all. We need to hear from 2 more and see what kind of lies they come up with, and what kind of contradictions, the contradicting stories that they're contradicting one another with. That's all we need, y'all. We gonna get justice. We gonna get justice. But y'all hype this video, subscribe, and y'all get in the comment section.
Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Well, I said it before, but now I'm really, really, really saying it. Nolan Wells was murdered, and I believe the whole town is involved in the cover-up. That's right, I said, well, Maybe not the whole town, but much of the town. This is why we don't have an official investigation report released yet. We don't have it. We don't see any motion at all, except in the ocean. You dig what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Family, we got a woman who goes by just Bree on TikTok, B-R-I, Bree. And she has been filming and filming and filming. And she came across camera after camera after camera located on Horn Island. Yeah, fam. They got cameras all around that place. It is impossible for somebody to create a travesty like the murder of Nolan Wells, and nobody saw nothing. Not one of those cameras picked up something. It may not pick up every single detail, but those cameras got Nolan's murder on it. One of those cameras saw what happened.
Okay, there's Horn Island right there. Looks like there's a sailboat out there, maybe. It's okay in the water. That's the island. That is how long it is. It is pretty long, guys. Yeah. That's the west end, or that's the east end. And this light. And then over here is going to be the west end, and this is the washing machine that they're talking about. Water is pretty choppy today, but that is the island. There's some houses right there. The next place I'm going to take you to is over by Lover's Lane, so you guys can see how much housing and stores are over there that have possible footage. But yeah, let's get to the end of this pier. Wait a minute, you guys, there's fucking cameras on the fucking pavilion, and they can't even say they don't work because there's a fucking solar panel. Now I know you see me watching you, and I know you see me watching me. There's literally cameras everywhere out here, y'all. Every fucking where. Okay, so I have now made it to Old Fort Bayou Pier, where they pulled in to a stop. This is an oyster house right here, and then next to it is the fireworks stand. Now, I don't see any cameras here, but let me get in my car and I'll show you where there is a camera because I'm too fat to walk. For reference. What's that? Oh, what's that? It's a camera, guys, with a light. What's this, guys? Where are you? Oh, yeah. Okay, we are now over here. So that is how far the oyster house is. I want to show you guys something. Look at that fancy house over there. Y'all see any cameras? I see lights. I wonder if there's a camera over there. I'll have to go on the other side of that bridge and see what's going on. Now, where the ramp is, there is a drawbridge up there because this is a short bridge, so I'm sure there's cameras up there. They have to have cameras. I'm sure it's a state law. I'll have to look it up. Now, this is where they would have come in at. Look at these fancy houses over here. Look at that man walking his dog. I bet you they have cameras. Maybe them. Or maybe them. Interesting, right? All right, let's go look at some more. We're going to walk on this side of the dock so you guys can get a better understanding of what we're looking at over here. Okay, we are on the other side of the dock. And I want you guys to take a look at this. That's a catfish house. They are definite dog cameras in there. Look at these houses. You can tell me none of these houses saw anything on their next stop to Lover's Lane, which would on a point to you where Lover's Lane is. That, my friends, is Lover's Lane. And you're going to tell me that I ain't questioned. None of them houses. By the way, that's a restaurant. That's a restaurant. So they have even better view. But they haven't questioned any of these motherfuckers who own these houses. Look at that. That's a historical home registered for the state of Mississippi. You know they have cameras. I'm just saying. Oh look, my friend's found the cameras. Ain't that something? All right, we're gonna get back on Lover's Lane. I just had to explore the little neighborhood that had to the side there. All right, this is back on Lover's Lane. So this is where one of them home people live. I'm not sure if it was a male or female. One of their shops was here on Lover's Lane. You're gonna tell me. No, that's not the house. They're beautiful. Not these houses. All right, let me tell this. Let's go there, Mom. Oh, Lord have mercy. There's a house.
$1 million homes, fam. $1 million homes line the island. That's money. That's money. And you know, boating is an expensive hobby. So you start talking about people who got money, so-called close-knit community, They have some of their own being accused of something as heinous as murder. How far do you think they go? How far do you think they'll go?
Over there that had the gate completely padded up. You couldn't see through it, so I can only assume it might have been the house. But yes, this is, look at this. Can we go there? No, baby. Water on every side with all these stunning.
Keep in mind, fam, you can just watch how Trump moved and watch how all of those billionaires and millionaires moved who went to the Epstein Island. Look at all of that. How many of them are in jail? How many went to jail? All of them. All of that access, money. It's like the more money they have, the more corrupt they are, the more wicked they are. So you can't put nothing past a pretty house and big money and cars and planes and boats. You can't put nothing past none of that. People that got all of that kind of stuff, they got to step on a lot of people in most cases to get it.
Okay, now we are at the end of Lover's Lane. We're going to go back up and see all these fancy houses. It's going to go through this direction. Zoomed out as much as I could. You get the idea. Look at that. Stunning. Boom. Right? And the biggest house had the most private gate. You'll see all these wrought iron gates, how they just open, and the people are chill and they don't care. Wait till you see this next one. It's quite interesting. And I bet you $1 million at these houses. I promise. Now, I'm not going to stop to look at everyone, but make a job here. Okay. It's coming up.
All right, fam, you get it. You picking up what she's putting down. Family. Nolan Wells was murdered, and his murder was captured on one of those cameras, if not captured on a cell phone. Yeah, because you know how youngsters do. They film everything. You saw the group of girls, the white girls, I think it was 3 of them, who dragged the black girl who had epilepsy, dragged her up the stairs, beat her. You know, one of them came down on her head like with a DDT move, like bam, you know, one of those wrestling moves. It wasn't DDT, but more like one of those wrestling moves. But yeah, man, they film everything. They film their crimes. I don't know what that's about, but these youngsters film their crimes these days. It don't matter what the crime is. They film. So you can go to those phones and find out what's going on. If indeed the so-called boys, who are really men, because all of them are 18, I have yet to hear any of these publications call them men. They are men. If they didn't do it, let's look at the phones. All of y'all submit your phone records. You too, Katie. Submit those phone records. Let's take a look, man. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at those phone records. Let's take a look at all of those cameras stationed around the island. Those cameras are there for a purpose. It is to capture crime, and it's also used as a deterrent. But when a camera is far away and you can't just look right there and see it, oftentimes you might think you're not being watched. So those cameras, from what I see, are very good quality. So they got something on them. If nothing else, the movement of those boats, people coming and going. Yeah. But I think his murder was actually captured. It's captured on one or more of those cameras, and it's highly possible that one of those youngsters actually recorded it. It's somewhere. Maybe they deleted it after they realized the gravity of everything, and they realize this thing is getting out of hand. These people are looking for answers, and they really want answers. We done got away with stuff in the past, but look like we might not be able to get away with this, so we got to cover our tracks. Just my thoughts. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
New update in the Nolan Wells case, and this is addressing the question a lot of us have had, okay? And an insider is coming in to actually speak on it on the point of why has no one in connection to Nolan Wells' case actually been arrested, detained, or put to the grinder, okay? You guys, we have an insider actually talking and pointing out many similar investigations where there were actually arrests made. Now, these questions are coming on the heels of Nolan's friends lawyering up because somehow in this situation, they turned themselves into the victims. And Nolan is just a footnote in history. Now, they have pulled back and they have made a casual fact-finding mission to the island with their now lawyer, who happens to be Trump's lawyer. And the lawyer told us, right, through their quotes in TMZ, that things got raw for the boys. The trip was tough for Warren and Jax because that's the last place they saw their best friend. A couple times we had to pause and give them space. As you guys know, the Mississippi legislation and the lawyers seem to be, well, okay, legislation's a long shot, but the powers that be in Mississippi, from the governor to the sheriff to many interviews with people that actually live in Ocean Springs, seem like they want Nolan's mom to drop everything, okay? But in the words of Nancy Grace, when she was interviewing with Stephen A. Smith, which, by the way, I was on Nancy Grace. Make sure y'all go to her Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Hit that like. Say you are a tattletale or you saw me running my mouth. Right? But yes, I was on Nancy Grace. Go ahead and run those numbers up if you would be so kind. But let me get back into what I'm saying. In the words of Nancy Grace, she doesn't know if those boys are guilty. She doesn't know if they're not guilty. She doesn't know if those boys are telling the truth. She doesn't know if they're lying. All right? She hopes, like many of us hope, that those boys had nothing to do with Nolan's disappearance. Right? She hopes and prays that his friends wouldn't be so low, disgusting, demonic, downright crazy to actually do something for him, to him, and then gaslight a nation. Gaslight a nation. And actually a world, because this is going international, about what's going on. But like Nancy said, I think it's important we remember, it'll be a cold day in hell when anybody demands that an investigation is completely stopped, an investigation is completely called off, an investigation is completely buried, because the last people that claim they saw a deceased person says we had nothing to do with it. No, he was heavily drinking and he drowned. Nothing to see here. Are you guys out of your minds? Like Nancy says, it will be a cold day in hell that they call off an investigation into what happened in someone's death just because the friend said there's nothing to see here and we can all go about our business. Nothing to see here. Now, a lot of people, let's get into the whole arrest thing, all right? Let me cue this up. A lot of people have been saying, why hasn't there been an arrest made? Now, some people are acting like they don't live in America, and they're just like, because there's no evidence, there's no this. But every person who is black or non-white is like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? People, literally, they will go into a neighborhood and arrest 20 people for the same crime that only one person could have committed. And they hold everyone. But you know what? Don't wait for me to break it down. Let's listen to this insider actually break it down. And I think they're bringing up some very good points. Hold on, y'all. All right, I want to introduce you to Truth_has_no, HASNO_party. Truth has no party. Go ahead and follow him on Instagram because the points he makes and the way he breaks this down, and he is an investigator. One second, y'all. Sorry, I'm back. So Truth has no party. He talks about verified proof, the voice of the underrepresented and economically besieged, unfiltered. Not going to get his accolades. Please go to and give this man a follow because he does speak the truth. But listen to what he had to say.
My page spewing propaganda and misinformation and crap. Listen, I was trying to be fair until y'all started talking. I was trying to be fair until y'all reminded me of so many inconsistencies in y'all stories and y'all doing all the talking. To take us off the scent trail of Nolan Wells, stop. Just stop. It's now a cover-up. It could have been an accident. I think it was an accident. But the cover-up is going to get all of y'all. Watch. So let's talk procedures, because that was my premise of my argument. Do you remember?
Now, he was being besieged by people saying, basically accusing him of being a race agitator, trying to make something out of nothing, basically trying to gaslight him, okay? So he is clapping back because, again, he, like so many of us, are asking, why isn't everybody being detained, arrested, that could, because the stories keep changing. Things keep looking funny. Let's get into it.
What's that young lady name? Casey Anthony? She was in handcuffs one day after her daughter was reported missing. Not for murder, but for lying. And what about that guy named Brian Welsh? He was held 4 days, and the charge, it was misleading investigator. He is currently serving life right now. And lastly, what about that Lori Vallow girl who sat in jail for 4 months because before they even found her children? Procedure. That was my argument. Procedures. It's called collateral charge. It's not saying that y'all guilty, but basic procedures. Every state has it. You don't need the cause of death. You need one person whose story that doesn't match or doesn't hold up. So Jackson County, did all accounts match up? No. Other witnesses' story match up? No. Stories don't even match. And if they match, why don't you publicly say so? If you flip the skin color, if 3 black teenagers came back from Horn Island and that one white kid didn't, their clothes would be in evidence bags.
Let me just pause really quick. I know he's cooking. I'm going to let him finish. But let me just say, because I think a lot of people are missing the point. Mississippi and the people defending this nonsense in Mississippi, and it is pure nonsense, because what are you guys doing? If you have an autopsy that vindicates, why don't you release it? See, we're all saying nothing is adding up. Something doesn't sound right. They're hiding the information that they claim exonerates, but we're the wrong ones because we're like, what's going on? From what we see in the interviews and what we see in the MDR report and what we see, the stories don't match in critical places. And if they do match, if you do have information, why are you hiding it from the public? You're talking about Ben Crump instigating and doing that. Why are you hiding evidence that you claim to have from the public that leads the governor, the police chief, the parents, and everybody else to think that Nolan drowned from being heavily intoxicated? Release some of the evidence. Are there any pictures on the island? Are there any pictures of July 4th? If there's any proof that anybody has to corroborate what they say, then why aren't they releasing it? What's going on? Do they want this type of information? Are they trying to stoke this? Are they doing this because they see that they're running up money for GoFundMe? And as much as they accuse Nolan's mom of scamming, they might be the ones that are. I don't know. Like Nancy says, we don't know what's true. We don't know what's a lie, but it will be a cold day in hell that we call off and stop asking questions just because people that have given us no proof at all, none, are telling us there's something to see here. That's stupid. Who would do that? They're asking us, since we have no proof, to call off the dogs. Anyway, let's keep going.
Phones would be imaged. That boat processed from the stem to the stern, from with blood forensics or cadaver dogs. They match up? No. Stories don't even match. And if they match, why don't you publicly say so? If you flip the skin color, if 3 black teenagers came back from Horn Island and that one white kid didn't, their clothes would be in evidence bags. Their phones would be imaged. That boat processed from the stem to the stern, from with blood forensics or cadaver dogs before sundown. Everyone knows this. That was my argument. Procedures. Any state goes through its procedures. So you can't sit up here and tell us that a young dead man's keys and his phone shows up at your house on the coffee table near a gaming console. One of those young men's keys is in this bedroom, that their ass would not be taken downtown in custody for procedure. It's procedural work. Any law enforcement would do it. So miss me with your Mississippi white privilege. Mississippi law enforcement, you missed opportunity to test their clothing worn that day. You could have did forensic blood work, blood splatter. Procedures, damn it. Because you immediately said it was no foul play and likely said it was a drowning. So you effed up. You effed up what? The procedures. Did you test the boat? No. Procedures. What about the closing? Nope. Procedures. What about the house where the keys and the phone was found? Nope. Procedures. That was my argument the whole time. So don't come at me. Arrest these 3 gentlemen right now. Hell, if it was me, I would arrest them right now because of what? Procedures. I'll put an ankle monitor on them right now because they may skip town. It is a crime to know of a crime that you didn't report. Truth as no party, y'all be well. Crap.
Again, he said what he said. For all these people trying to act, oh my God, Nolan's just drowned. He was heavily intoxicated. Where did you hear that lie? Who has said it? And again, how come procedures weren't followed? But when we get into procedures, we need to actually talk about maybe why procedures do not appear to have been followed. And if they were, why aren't they sharing them with the public? I want to introduce you to hold on a second. Sorry, I'm just reading this. The Norma Jeans, Geans 5, all right? On TikTok, all right? Listen to what he has to say because I am sick of people that don't look like me, right? Arguing about whether procedures and what is actually going on when we all know what the history of Mississippi is. As a matter of fact, before I play this next thing, because I think he makes some really good points, let me get into a comment that somebody made that really chilled me to my heart. It was Beautiful Queen. She said, there has definitely been an uptick of young Black people showing up and have gone, right, taken from this earth in very, very suspicious circumstances. After Tasia Fortune, right, was found hanging from a tree that was so high, the fire people had to come and get her down because only a fire ladder could reach up that high, right? She said Chloe McDonald, who was 15, was found blanked in the head on a boom in the head on a walking trail. On August 6, 2026, Rasheem Carter was found beat and dismembered with his organ in his mouth. You know what that means. This all happened in Mississippi in August of 2026. And these coons and coming up here, raccoons and whatnot, foraging through the trash, coming up, talking about we're the ones that are agitating. But listen to what Mr. Jeans actually had to say, all right?
Like a hose, if it clucks like a chicken, it's a chicken.
Oops, sorry, one second.
Said it was no foul play and likely said it was a drowning. So you effed up. You effed up what? The house where the keys and the phone was found. What? Procedures.
Okay, I'm just trying to gear it up. Okay, here we go.
Y'all be well.
Crack a hose, if it clucks like a chicken, it's a chicken. And if it clucks like the Klan, then it's the Klan. Because it's not just Sheriff John Ledbetter who said that they're not going to work on the family's timetable and they're going to do a thorough investigation that seems to be yielding no results. Or Dr. Stacey Turner, the state medical examiner for Mississippi, the chief examiner, wants to remove parts of Nolan Wells, God rest his soul, his trachea and his larynx or organs in his body before they ship his body off to D.C. for an independent autopsy. Or Judge Ashley Cole with the Mississippi state flag in the background, the OG one that gave homage to the Confederate flag. Yeah, that one. Yeah, she wants to say in advance her son is innocent, but she's adjudicating nothing. And I just have so many questions. But then I remember what happened to the Klan. The Klan are your doctors, your lawyers, and your judges, your sheriff, your police commissioner, all of these things. That is where the Klan went. It didn't go away. It didn't vanish and disappear. They're still in society, and they hide their face like clowns behind masks in robes. Sweetheart, they hide them behind badges. They hide them behind the stethoscope. They hide them behind the gavel in a courtroom.
Exactly. So let's get back into what we know. Procedures does not seem to have been followed. Procedures seemed to have been, the ball was dropped. Procedures, okay? Seems like opportunities were missed. And if they did follow procedures and they do have this information, why don't they share it with the public so we can stop wondering what happened and we can start to grieve and the family can start to move on? But like, excuse me, that young man just said, there's a reason why historically, and by historically, I even mean in recent times, procedures cannot be followed in the South. Now, I'm not saying this is Ocean Springs, but he does have a point. The Ku Klux Klan is very alive. It is very well. And those people didn't go anywhere. And again, they are doctors. They are lawyers. They are police chiefs. They are judges. Now, Ocean Springs says that's not them. But again, let's pull it back to procedures. Why are they not being followed? Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Supposed to determine.
I have never seen Dr. Umar Johnson snap the way he did in this Art of Dialogue interview, because he is not playing about this Nolan Wells situation. We are about to react to this. And look, I'm telling y'all, better brace yourselves, because this is going to put some fire back in you after being exhausted over all these lies that they've been feeding us. And he is reminding everybody, we did not forget about his throat. We have not forgotten about his lungs. Check this out, y'all.
When the black medical examiner gets the Nolan's corpse art, the throat tissue and the lung tissue is gone. How is he supposed to determine if Nolan died from being choked out or if Nolan died from drowning if he don't have the throat tissue or the lung tissue? And nobody has explained yet whether or not the medical examiner in DC is ever going to get the throat tissue or the lung tissue. And I personally believe, Art, Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. And the reason they held on to the throat tissue and the reason they held on to the lung tissue is they didn't want nobody to know that Nolan was murdered before he hit that water.
Brandon Tatum, we did not forget about you. Umar Johnson is on Officer Brandon Tatum's ass. And I got to correct myself. You are not an officer, bro. You are, y'all know who he is. I'm going to let Mr. Umar Johnson explain who he is. Check this out, y'all.
Doing an interview with Officer BT, that's Coon as in C-U-N-E, Coon as in K-H-E-W-N, Coon as in K-U-H-N,
as in C-O-N-N. So Warren did a sit down with Officer BT, and as we all know, BT is white YouTube's pet monkey. Problem I got with this whole story arc is Nolan allegedly had too many best friends. I'm trying to find out, how does Nolan have so many best friends, and why did all of these so-called best friends leave their best friend on White Devil's Horn Island without his cell phone and keys? I'm trying to figure this out.
Dr. Umar Johnson begins to speak about something that I've been hammering for a while now. Us as a black people, we must withdraw ourselves from these people's parties. I'm talking about anything America have to offer us. We don't need to be a part of that. Meaning, if it's something that's high priced, if it's a damn holiday that we don't need to be associated with, we must withdraw our dollars from these people and get back to the basics of life. Check this out, y'all.
Any other black person who was on Devil Horns Island, any black person who was celebrating the 4th of July, no member of the black race at all should have been celebrating July 4th, 2026, because our ancestors were still enslaved. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has received a warrant. Nobody has been indicted. Nobody has been charged. If you are innocent, why are you raising money online? You ain't been charged with a crime at all. The state of Mississippi is doing everything they can to make sure y'all don't get charged with anything. Why did y'all cancel your social media? They hired Donald Trump's lawyer, Art. If you innocent, what you need Donald Trump's lawyer for? It sounds like y'all getting ready to defend yourselves. That's what it sounds like to me.
Now, I'm an advocate for people that's doing the work, and I just don't like when somebody's complaining about other people that's doing the work and you're not doing the work yourself. Not saying Umar Johnson ain't doing no work, but you're not doing the work that they're doing. So in this segment, I'm going to have to disagree with Dr. Umar Johnson.
Here's my question to Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, Art. How long is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton going to wait around, Art, before they tell the world that they don't think this investigation is being done correctly? How long before Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton demand that the FBI and Department of Justice take over this investigation? Art, it's been over a month and we know nothing. They declared this an accidental drowning before they did any investigation. That's a cover-up. They never treated the boat like a crime scene. They never took a look at the other two boats. Those 30 white kids should have had their cell phones confiscated, investigated. All their social media should have been investigated. Their homes should have been investigated. They should have all been interrogated. They should have been investigated to see if they or their parents had any connection to any of the white hate groups in the state of Mississippi. None of that was done. According to the Cajun Navy, they offered Ben Crump to put dogs on the boat and let the dogs sniff it out to see if anybody had recently been deceased on that boat or if there had been any blood on that boat. And according to the representative from the Cajun Navy, Ben Crump told him, don't do it. Did you have your own dogs to sniff out the boat? Because if you didn't, why didn't you let them sniff the boat out with the dog? The dogs can tell, Art, if somebody had recently lost their life or if blood had been spilled. He said Ben Crump told him no. I need Ben Crump to explain that.
But let's not forget the Cajun Navy and everybody who owns them damn boats. They all know each other. So who's to say that those dogs would have came back or they would have allowed the results to be released, just like they're holding back the autopsy report? They probably could have held back the results of the dogs sniffing the boat. Who knows?
I believe they kept the lungs, Art, because they knew that those lungs would have provided evidence of the fact that Nolan may have been deceased before he hit that water. They kept the throat because it may have shown some trauma that Nolan may have gotten choked out. We don't know if Nolan got hit in the back of the head. We don't know if the blood simply drained to the back of the head. They say Nolan was found face down in the water. Not only that, Nolan was transported face down to Washington, D.C. I don't think that has anything to do with the blood draining to the back. You want to know why? Because he was found floating on his face.
Now, here's a part I can agree with Dr. Umar Johnson, which is history is repeating itself. And it's up to us to make a change. We cannot sit up here and keep begging these people to show us respect. The truth is, we're going to have to respect ourselves. And not only that, we're going to have to continue withdrawing ourselves from their economy. Let's hit them where it hurts, y'all.
So they tracked the phone to his house, Art. And Sister Tashima said when they opened up the door, the house was dark. They turned the lights off so they wouldn't recognize nobody's face. 61 years later, they doing the same thing for black people who think white people have changed. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. They are their ancestors. They might be worse. And since they are their ancestors, we need to be our ancestors. Why is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton dragging their feet? Benjamin Crump, you need to have a street march.
I swear I predicted this one. Now, just a couple days ago, I was saying #1,000,000 March in Mississippi.
You need to bring all of the black militia groups to Mississippi, and we need to march on Mississippi. Your approach to this investigation is too humble, it is too docile, it is too meek, it is too soft. You are dealing with Mississippi, and you have not activated any street protests. Sister Christine and Brother Nolan Wells are not going to get justice, Art, if Benjamin Crump doesn't activate a street activism campaign. Al Sharpton is about to have another march on Washington. For what? Al Sharpton. Listen to me, sir. You don't need to march on D.C. Al Sharpton needs to switch the march from Washington, D.C. to Mississippi. We should march in Senatobia, Mississippi one day for baby Cohen. We have to march in Cleveland, Mississippi for our brother Trey Reed. So we need to march in Cleveland, Mississippi. We need to march in Senatobia, Mississippi. We need to march in Jackson, Mississippi.
So come to find out, Reverend Al Sharpton is doing a march in Washington, D.C. What Umar Johnson is saying that we don't need it in D.C. We need to go to Mississippi to do a march. Damn, I just said that.
Tasia Fortune was found hanging from a tree. They had to use a ladder to go up on the tree and get our sister Tasia down. They called the Cito company at 4 o'clock. It sounds like they may have been in the act of unaliving Nolan Wells when they made the call.
So it looks like Dr. Umar Johnson shares the same sentiment as a lot of people that's out there, which is that call that they made on the boat was just a cover-up. And the reason why everybody think that that's a cover-up is because you didn't even want any help, bro. She asked you, do you need me to send you out some help? You said no. Well, how deep is the water? Your story is just way too conflicting. We don't believe you. You need more people. But Umar Johnson said he don't give a damn who you send out if his boat is sinking. He said you could call some snow bunnies. Now, we all know what Dr. Umar Johnson feel about the snow bunnies. He said you call the snow bunnies to come rescue him. He don't care who comes and rescue him if his boat is sinking.
Because the call was bogus. This is my belief. Nothing was wrong with that boat. They made that call because they needed an alibi, Art. When Nolan's body was found, and if they were able to determine the time of death, they say, wait a minute, Nolan was unalived at 4 o'clock. They could say our boat was sinking at 4 o'clock and we was on the phone with Cito. The phone was a decoy. The phone call was a bait and switch. There was nothing wrong with that boat, Art. We know that Mississippi is going to find all the audio engineers that they can find, Art, to try to say that the background noise cannot be corroborated or verified. They're going to say we can't use the background noise. There's too much going on. We don't care what Sister Jeanette Brantley had to say. We had our own F.B.A. audio engineers listen to it, and they can't make out the conversation. Even if they throw out the background noise, I believe we still have probable cause to arrest all 30 of those white kids. He calls the operator on Cito. The operator says, how can I help you? Our boat is sinking and we need a tow. How much water are you in? We're in 17 feet of water. No. We in 31 feet of water. There's the big difference between 17 and 31. They boat all the time. They go to Horn Island all the time. Why don't you know if you're in 17 foot of water or 31 foot of water? The Cito operator, Art, says, do you want me to call the Coast Guard? Do you want me to call the Coast Guard? We don't need the Coast Guard. If your boat is sinking, do you care who comes to rescue you? If I'm sinking in 31 feet of water, you can call the Coast Guard, you can call the aliens, you can call the Snow Bunny boat, you can call whoever you want to call if my boat is sinking. Who says we don't need the Coast Guard if we sink it. She says, how many adults are on the boat? There are no adults on the boat. Second lie. First lie, he said, Nolan said, I'm staying behind to hang out with Katie. Y'all can leave me. Katie said Nolan told her, I'm headed back to the boat because my friend's about to leave. That was lie number one. Lie number two, the Cito operator asked you, how many adults are on the boat? He said everybody on the boat is under 21. She said that was not my question. She begged him to tell her how many people are on the boat. Is anybody breathing on the boat? He said a lot of people breathing on the boat. She said, is there anybody living on the boat? He said, yes, people are alive on the boat. Art, I would like to investigate her. She didn't do no crime. I want to know what made that operator say, is anybody breathing on the boat? What made her say, is anybody alive on the boat, Art? What did she hear in the background? That don't sound like a regular question. It's almost like she could feel something was going on.
Man, that's the end of the video. I really enjoyed this interview. The link to Art of Dialogue will be in the description. And Dr. Umar Johnson, he has a pretty interesting perspective on the Nolan Wells case, because I would have never thought that the operator asked him who was breathing on the boat. And why would she ask him who was breathing on the boat? It kind of makes me think that, did a situation like this occur before? It's like, if he's telling you that the boat is sinking, why would somebody not be breathing on the boat? Or why wouldn't somebody be alive on the boat? Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. And I want to give a shout out to Nolan Wells' parents for being so strong, for standing up, for being able to speak at these conferences, because somebody losing a child, man, you gotta feel like weak. I don't even want to imagine how something like that feel. But prayers and condolences to their family. Let's not forget, y'all, the medical examiner has deemed the unaliving of our people time after time after time no foul play. And what are we going to do about this, y'all? I say we need to do a 1,000,000-man march out in Mississippi, make these people feel uncomfortable as hell. Y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think about
with the bell icon so you can be notified whenever a new video is posted. And if you're already subscribed, check and make sure that YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you. And of course, be sure to give the video a like as well as share it on your social media. The white supremacists hate that. And now the Sunday address. By now, I'm sure that everyone's heard the completely unfounded rumors circulating online about Roly-Poly Martin. Yes, Roland Martin's name is in the internet streets again, and as usual, it's not for anything good. I'm sorry, I know it's juvenile as hell, but the jokes write themselves on this one. First of all, though, to be fair, this is all just internet gossip. But truth be told, believe it or not, as tempting as it would be to make sport of Butterball Martin and dunk on him, the truth is, if what are right now just rumors do happen to pan out to be true in the future, then it was nonetheless the result of an illegal video having been taken. But on top of that, to me, holding Roly-Poly up for ridicule, which would break anyone's back, is only useful for showing how stupid the DNC shills are and the Boule bootlick class is. Well, at least these totally unfounded rumors didn't involve a man. But speaking of someone who has been confirmed of having been in a hotel room with other men, Andrew Big Bussy Gillum is also back in the news again. Just goes to show trouble comes in twos when it comes to bootlicks. Exactly a month after he was arrested on drug charges in Alabama, Gillum's back in the hoosgow again. Seems that he failed to report for a drug test on a day that he was scheduled to appear, and he was subsequently tested during a court appearance on Thursday. Gillum's test came back positive for meth, and he's been taken back into custody. The court order in this case also made multiple references to Drug Court, which is an alternative program for first-time drug-related offenders that is rehabilitation-focused and can include charge dismissal upon completion. Well, in Andrew Gillum's case, I think that plan suffered something of a setback. And just to show that he's still pining away, hoping the Democrats will give him another chance, on July 4th of this year, he was at Essence Fest in New Orleans. It was a bootleg jamboree, too. His now former pals from Native Land Pod were there, Bakari Sellout and Angela Rye with lettuce and tomatoes on the side, along with Jasmine Crockett. You see, they were together to take part in a so-called panel on the 2026 midterms. But mostly they were complaining that Black people weren't so enthused about voting for nothing anymore.
First of all, I just want to thank my sister Jasmine. Look, at the end of the day, I think it's really important that I want to hone into the point of the folks who did not answer the question that they belong either or, which is the scary part for me as we approach the midterm general election, right? So many people are so upset. They are staying home. They are not engaged. They are not informed. And that is what's going to make us lose big if we don't get out and we don't get people out to vote, especially those who look like us. They are disengaged and not informed. And it's because of, number one, we can talk about a lot of things of why it's like that, but specifically around candidates' messaging and how they're talking about how they're going to help you. Are they meeting you where you are, where you're at, to talk about the things that matter to you most in your life? And at the end of the day, they're just not meeting the moment of that. But at the same time, we know that that doesn't mean we need to stay at home. We cannot stay at home at all.
Now, I don't know if there was any music going on at Essence Fest, but this was a joint chorus of complaint. But this is what Andrew Gillum was doing right after his arrest last month. His first instinct, go to New Orleans to help turn Essence Fest into a surprise DNC campaign stop.
You know, Ashley Etienne actually just did an article that was published by Essence. And in this article, she said that when they did this autopsy of what happened with the DNC and where they spent the money, 1% of the money went to Black folk, went to Black media, went to Black outreach. 1%. Do you know who is the most loyal to the Democratic Party? It is Black people. So you had 93% of Black women vote for the Democratic nominee, and close to 80% of Black men vote for the Democratic nominee, and we lost, and they continue to spend money sinking it into people that were never coming to support our party.
Yeah, at this late date, they start trying to sound a little bit like us, but mostly they're complaining about what money they didn't get from the Democratic Party. That's what this really is. This is a joint chorus of complaint about how come the DNC didn't throw us some more money. That's what they're really thinking about. How come the Democratic Party isn't taking care of them? And that being the case, instead of these guys being honest with Black folks, all of a sudden they don't discover their anger and indignation until they're on the outs, because that's what all those people have in common. These are all a bunch of bootlicks who thought that they were on the team and wound up being unceremoniously thrown out on their ear. And you got a couple of them who apparently are in the sights of Trump's DOJ. And that being the case, they're looking around and wondering where all their Democratic buddies are at. Well, they're at the same place that they were at when they weren't doing anything for the Black constituents, when these were the very people telling Black people to vote for the Democratic Party. Now here these guys are when they got nothing left to lose because they've already lost everything to the Democrats. And now here they are talking all tough. Who the hell are they trying to fool? And for a bunch of thwarted politicos who are just so worried about the fate of the Black political class, they sure do seem to be smiling a lot, aren't they? Certainly in a good mood, except for Angela Rye. She's still hoping that she can get a weekend gig on MSNBC or something. You can see the desperation in her empty little eyes. Hell, even the breakfast schlubs have stopped returning her phone calls. But this was Andrew Gillum's priority after his arrest. He should have been laser focused on trying to handle his case. Instead, it was business as usual, for his would-be white employers at least. Like I tell you, these bootlicks are on a kamikaze mission, and they're trying to take the rest of us with them. And don't you know that if Roly-Poly had been down there, he'd have been cheesing it up right along with the rest of them? So this gang of do-nothings, instead of being honest and talking about how they've refused to offer Black voters anything, they instead whine that Black people just don't seem to understand how important it is for them to vote for the Democrats. And they blame the Black voters for why they'll probably lose in November instead of blaming themselves. See, this is what the white powers that be do when it comes to these tools like Andrew Gillum. First, they start off by watching them, observe them, see how much self-control these tools have. White power will test a prospective tool, go ahead and tempt them, offer them some sort of vice like drugs or interracial sexual access. That's what they do in Hollywood, and that's also what they do in political circles too. They try to figure out, hey, what is it that you're into? Oh, Big Bussy Gillum seems to like dudes. Well, we got those too. And hey, maybe one of them might have offered him some narcotic. We don't know, but that could have been the way it went down. And that being the case, did he tell them, guys, I don't do that? Or was it a matter of, well, got to go along to get along, right? I don't know. And maybe I am getting soft in my old age. Maybe I'm getting somewhat sentimental and casting sympathy in all directions, which is not a good trait, by the way. But when I spoke on this before, I said that I hoped Andrew Gillum got himself some help, because to me, he seemed to clearly be spiraling. And while I don't want him in a position where his feckless bootlicking will only serve to harm black interests, I also know where this kind of thing leads to, and it's nowhere good. He's been arrested 2 times over the course of about a month, and both of those arrests have been drug-related, and it seems with the second one, there's not even a question of whether or not he was on drugs. Looks like they tested him, and he was. What that tells me is he's not able to help himself. This guy is not able to control this problem, and he needs to. Hanging out with Essence Fest with the rest of the bootlicks and trying to basically fake normal, this is not what you do when you're facing this kind of a crisis. And make no mistake, Andrew Gillum is in a crisis. Sure, it's a crisis of his own making, but it's a crisis nonetheless. And trying to just basically make it seem as if, hey, we got things on track, it's all under control, that was a bump in the road. No, that's not the reality. What happened to him this week? That is the reality. The lesson that people need to learn from the fall of Roly-Poly and Andrew Gillum is that only an idiot should think that the white powers that be don't have dirt on these people, and that they got stuff like this in their back pocket tucked away. How many times have we seen someone who white power put on, made them prominent, and then they get taken down by some dirt, and it turns out that white power had it in their pocket from the very beginning, or at the very least, they had it for a while. Joy Reid thought that she was on the team, and then they reminded her that they know all about her past blog posts where she was saying things critical of LGBT. They were sitting there holding that over her head for years. Just a reminder, go ahead and dirty her up a little bit. Oh, we're not going to throw her out just yet, but we do want to let her know we got this. The enemy has these chumps numbered from day one, not just because white power has no long-term plans for them, but because the enemy absolutely loves a cruel prank, especially one that takes a long time to pay off. Nothing happens in a vacuum under white supremacy. Whether it be their political parties or their white media, they work together. The administrative arm of white supremacy operates by the same rules as the propaganda arm, and with the exact same results. But I would say that the most telling thing of all with the fall of Roly-Poly and Andrew Gillum is that none of their pals, none of their boule bootlicks or their running buddies are coming to their rescue. Nobody's sticking up for them, or even sticking their necks out for them. And those are just their fellow black bootlicks. Now, in the case of Roly-Poly, the alleged rumored video hasn't actually been seen by anyone. There's no actual hard proof that it actually exists. It's just basically people reading between the lines. But isn't it interesting how white media personalities who have been in these kind of situations get treated differently? Remember Jeffrey Toobin, the disgraced CNN talking head and the person who coined the term the race card during the O.J. Simpson trial? In his case, there wasn't a rumored video. He was actually caught on video live streaming, playing with himself. Now, that wasn't a rumor. It was a fact. And yet he was on CNN and not in exile like Roly-Poly. And yet, how did CNN treat their favorite guest commentator? They had Jeffrey Toobin come on air to do a mea culpa, and then they just moved on, as if nothing had happened. Even other white media outlets, including Fox News, didn't hold it over Jeffrey Toobin's head. They let this disgusting little pervert's actions just fall down the memory hole. But that's what they did for a white man who was in his position. And in his case, those weren't rumors. They were facts. Roly and Andrew's former white media and political associates have not so much as spoken their names since Roly got bounced from CNN and Andrew lost his gubernatorial bid. See, when they're done with you, they're done. The job of the bootlicks is to sell the soap and to sell the black community out, but that doesn't get you any loyalty from white power. So while I don't have any ill will towards Andrew Gillum and I don't want to see anything bad happen to him, believe it or not, the truth of the matter is that he was on this slippery slope long before we ever heard his name. He didn't just pop up on those boats with strange white men by accident, and he didn't just pop up in that hotel room with a male escort by accident either. And when that hotel fiasco went down, he was also caught with meth then too. Now, you had a few of those little boule bootlicks out there who called themselves trying to stick up for him then. Some of them were even bold enough to speculate as to whether or not Gillum had been set up, though none of them wanted to actually talk about who most likely could have done it. And let's be honest here. Andrew Gillum, if he did get set up, it dang sure wasn't a GOP operation, that's for sure. They weren't close enough to him for that. And by the way, meth is primarily a drug used by white people, and yet you got Andrew Gillum. They got their hooks in him deep with that stuff. I'm not saying that meth is exclusively racial, but I am saying, why the world is it that meth in particular is what he got hooked on? And I'm not saying it makes him a bad person, but I do judge folks by the company they keep. Let this serve as a reminder to anyone toying with the idea of dancing with the devil, who look at these clowns, how the white media gives them attention, maybe a couple of throwaway dollars here and there, and they think to themselves, man, maybe I should try something like that. Let me tell you something. White power sets people up. It'll bring in drugs and skanks to compromise them. But let's be honest, with these fools, they're so eager to be close to white power, it's not really necessary to constantly blackmail them and hold it over their heads. You don't really need to coerce these guys to do white power's bidding. They'll obey massa and promote white power's interest regardless. So the white powers that be, they have the luxury of waiting to see when their tool either no longer is effective, as is the case with these bootlicks today, or if they prove to be defective by, talking back or being disobedient at some unknown future date. Either way, they got a way to get them back in line. Ever since he got exiled, Rowley's been begging for some sort of political consulting gig with the Democratic Party, and he did manage to get something from Kamala Harris. They gave him a couple of shekels. But the only thing he did was to show the DNC that spending money on him was a complete waste of time and effort. When he's complaining about the white DNC consultants and how he says they don't know how to reach black voters, that's roly-poly attempting to plant the idea in somebody's head that he has some kind of unique, singular knowledge of black voters, that he has some sort of bulletproof credibility with the black community. What he's actually saying is, master, if you're going to hoodwink and bamboozle these sorry bastards out there, you're going to need to send one of their own to do it. That's what he's really saying. Hey, massa, I'm auditioning for a job to be your stalking horse, to be your sock puppet. You need to have one of their own sell the soap to them. You can't send some pasty white consultant in there. Why, they'll never listen to the James Carvilles and others. They're not going to listen to those people. You got to send in a black face to go ahead and sell the soap. So that's the job that he's actually auditioning for. So the Democrats need to pay him to be their stalking horse, is what he's saying. Begging for butter biscuit crumbs. That's what he's been reduced to. And while he's managed to get some money from the Democrats, believe it or not, he's still on his little broom closet of a podcast because he's a safe, unthreatening Negro. He has no influence and hence no true importance. And at this point, no allies either. All those decades of people like him lecturing and finger wagging at the black grassroots about how we need to be towing the line for the Democrats because the black community is not going to get anything done without friends. That's a psychological insecurity that a lot of black folks have, and they've carried for a very long time. They know that that insecurity is there, so they like to poke at it and jab at it and see if that'll get black folks to start feeling insecure with themselves, and a lot of black folks do. But thanks to the efforts of the black grassroots led by the black media, there's been more and more black people who are starting to rediscover their confidence. And they're also starting to internalize that when black people get on code, we don't need any of these false friends that the roly-polies and the rest of these DNC shows are trying to sell us on, because we got something far better than friends. We've got family. That's what we want black people to focus on. And as for roly-poly, Gillum, and the rest of the bootlicks, after all these years and decades of lecturing us about how we need friends, here the two of them are, left out in the cold. Good evening, and be one.
all honesty, y'all, at the end of the day, I think this is about them wanting us to speak up because, there's more of them out there saying, we're really Americans too. We're Black Americans too. No, you're not. Oh, we were the original Black Americans. No, you weren't. All right. And you saying all that stuff is not going to gain any traction. Donald Trump made it very clear he wants y'all out of here. He don't want you here anymore. And if you were really truly, as you put it, a Black American, why are you being deported? You wouldn't be deported. All right. So no, they don't see you that way. They see you as Haitians. Period. So yeah, they're still coming at us, y'all. Nothing has changed. But yeah, I think what's real, and they won't come out and say it, but I'm just kind of reading in between the lines. They want us to fight this US government on their behalf and stand up for them so they don't get deported. But you spent all this time saying we have no culture. Okay, well, since you got all the culture, when you get back to Haiti, then you'll be back in your culture. You should be happy. And then didn't some of y'all say at least y'all had a country to go back to? Okay, well, you can get back to your country. But see, y'all don't want to go back there. Y'all don't want to go back there. And I don't think y'all want to deal with Barbecue and his people because they're the ones running the country now. I think you don't want to deal with them. So y'all doing everything you can, even including wearing an anchor monitor, running to Canada to avoid being deported. And at the end of the day, it's not going to do you any good. Even you folks wearing the ankle monitor, they may let you stay a little longer. They may do that, but eventually this country's going to turn on you and they're going to ship you out of here anyway. But y'all go ahead with the ankle monitor because that really is a temporary thing. They're not going to let you stay here indefinitely because you got that on. You watch. These folks don't keep their word on nothing. We already know this. We've already experienced them turning on us and lying to us and tricking us and sabotaging us. And that's all they're doing to you. It's just another form of manipulation. They're giving you the false belief that as long as you have that strapped on your ankle, you can stay here and they won't bother you. I promise they're coming. They are. Regardless to what you got on. It doesn't matter. So y'all, let me share my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
We're going to die anyway. Everybody leaves the same way. We need enough people. We need enough soldiers. We need enough people to say, you know what? Right, wrong, indifferent. This ends today because my life is on the line. My kids' life is on the line. You keep talking about I'm not your ancestors. You better become them ancestors because they have to do what they have to do and they don't even get to reap the benefits of what they had to do. Because Asian guy, if you're so bold, if you don't need the black dollar, here's the thing. Do what the white people did back in history when they hated us so much that they didn't even want our money. So how about you go create those businesses in the white neighborhood?
Another cosplayer. This is not even a Black American woman. This is a Haitian. Remember, dirty Black Americans and grifting off Black Americans. You want to talk about somebody's ancestors? Y'all are not y'all ancestors. The 1804 Haitians, y'all are not them because the only thing y'all revolutionizing today is boat crossing and fleeing. Yeah, if Toussaint and John Jack, them, if they seen the Haitians of today, what do you mean you're revolutionizing boat crossing? We never left the island. We stayed to fight. They will be turning in their grave. What you mean you celebrating Haitian Flag Day in somebody else's country? Don't even celebrate it, because the pride comes from being in Haiti. So if you want to tap in or talk about who's not their ancestors, y'all are not your ancestors. That message should have been for Haitians, not Black Americans. But it's a grift. It's a grift because nobody's tuning in for what Haitians have to say about Haitians, but other Haitians. Or when y'all being deported from Jamaica or being deported from the Bahamas, that's the only time, or losing your TPS status. But when you're talking about Haitian stuff, nobody's checking for it but other Haitians. Stop grifting off Black Americans. All y'all. That's not Black American, right? That's all they do is grift, eat off Black Americans. Never talk about their own issues or address their people, because people are not really checking for that. But anyway, yeah, y'all are the ones that's not your ancestors. And shout out to OBM Lotus for putting me up on game that she's Haitian. Why y'all never give credit to the Polish? Even your man, John said the Polish was the white Negroes of Europe because they deserted Napoleon to help the Haitians. And y'all never give the Polish any credit.
So I just saw that St. Kitts and Nevis have said that any deportees for asylum are welcome, except for Haitians. Oh, that's what we're on? I've had this thought for a long time, and I'm standing 10 toes on this shit. Haitians are the Black Americans of the Caribbean. And y'all could argue back and forth. How Haitians are treated in the fucking Caribbean is how Black Americans are treated here in the States. But that's fine by me. Two more or less countries on the list that I need to spend my fucking money over there too. But it's cool. As Haitians, eventually, it's gonna come back full circle.
I think it's hilarious how Haitians aren't considered Black Americans, which is, I guess, debatable when they're the whole reason why America even has Louisiana. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me. Kind of funny, isn't it?
What the fuck is y'all obsession with Black Americans? Literally, all the Caribbeans, all the fucking Africans, all the Afro-Hispanics and Latinos, all the fucking white people, y'all always got our name in your fucking mouths, and then y'all wonder why we respond the way we do. It was just one Haitian. It was just one Jamaican. It was just one white person. No, it's all of y'all. Mind you, you can't insert yourself into a fucking ethnic group. Black American and African American are synonymous, but we don't use the term African American. That shit is dead and gone out the fucking window, out the trash. That shit died when Jesse Jackson died. You're Haitian. Haitian and Black American are two different ethnic groups. Mind you, all of a sudden you want to be us, but y'all was just police toning us when this bitch said this.
What's your background? You American? Dirty Black American?
Wait, what?
Huh? She just said that. I did. A dirty Black American. I sure did. Because that's what y'all are.
So just a couple of months ago, Black Americans were being called dirty Black Americans by a Haitian woman. And then other Haitians came in and defended her and were trying to police Black Americans' reaction. Now that TPS is being taken away from you guys, all of a sudden now you're Black American. What if you don't get your goofy ass the fuck on? It's up with all of y'all.
So basically, this Haitian girl is sitting up here cosplaying a Black American, dressed like a Black American, talking with a Black American accent. Her hair, she got some weave extensions in the top, which is a technique that was created by a Black American woman. The eyelashes, everything you got going on, the nail art, everything is rooted in Black American culture. You're not sitting up there looking like a Haitian, dressing like a Haitian, talking like a Haitian, and you're clearly not in Haiti. You probably would cry and kick and scream if you were to get deported to Haiti today or tomorrow. Yet you're talking about here, you know what? Yes, big up yourself. But the fact that you all do this passive aggressive BS that I don't respect. Like to talk about, being Black American, you try to throw that in, oh, that's just plain Black. Bitch, what you mean plain Black? We the fucking blueprint. We're the blueprint. Majority of the things that you use around your house globally was created by a Black American person. We are the culture. Nobody's running around trying to be like a Haitian or a Caribbean or African at the same rate. And I'm not just talking about other groups of Black people. I'm talking about everybody in the world globally. You will see a subset. You will see a subculture. You will see a sector of people from each race, each culture, cosplaying Black American culture. You will see a group of Indians that's trying to do hip hop, that's singing R&B, that's dressed in a certain way, that's talking with a certain twang. You will see a group of Asians that's literally wearing a hair in certain hairstyles that we created and innovated, dressing a certain way, doing our art form, trying to mimic and emulate us. You will see Latinos doing it. You will see everybody around the globe doing it, but you do not see everybody around the globe that has literally a sector and a subculture of people that cosplay Haitians or that's cosplaying Senegalese people or that's cosplaying anybody else. The only other Caribbean culture that I feel like you will see people that are heavily invested in is Jamaican culture. We got to give it up to the Jamaicans. But even still, and it's not, I want to say it's not a competition, but you basically comparing yourself, saying that y'all are better. And you're supposed to feel good about yourself. When we get up here and say stuff like that, y'all say we're xenophobic. And we don't even do that. The only time, I'm going to speak specifically for myself because I make content responding to y'all, popping it like
this Haitian TPS status situation is still a mind-boggling situation to me, to know that you Haitians are still out here demonizing and talking greasy to Black Americans as if we're the one that's really revoking your status, as if we're the ones that's sending you up out of here. And I'm gonna be real. Okay, I know it's some petty ass Black Americans out here, but at the end of the day, what they saying is the truth though. They may be going a little overboard at times, but at the end of the day, it's still based in some truth. At the end of the day, we understand the situation of what's going on, but I don't think y'all understand the situation of what's going on. And what I mean by that is y'all mad at the wrong people. Y'all mad at Black Americans for simply talking about it, talking about we happy for it. We're indifferent. It ain't got nothing to do with us. Let's be real. I know one Haitian, and I didn't even know the nigga was Haitian until recently. I don't even know Haitians like that. I don't have no dog in that fight. But so many Haitians are out here talking about how happy and how proud they are to be a Haitian.
I mean, America is cool, but the food is processed. It's not that good. It's expensive. I'd rather go to my mom's country.
You've been to Haiti before?
Yes.
When was the last time you went to Haiti?
It's been like 4 years.
How was your experience in Haiti?
I love it. I got family out there, so I'm always okay. I'm always good.
Do you prefer to live in Haiti or live in America?
I would. If I retire and like I know I'm good over there and I got a house and stuff, I would retire over there.
You want to retire in Haiti?
Yeah, I mean, America is cool, but the food is processed. It's not that good. It's expensive. I'd rather go to my mom's country.
Now, by all means, I'm not going to judge you. If you really feel like you proud to be a Haitian, like you say you proud to be a Haitian, do your thing. But from a person that's outside looking in, I'm asking you, honestly, what are you proud of? What are you proud of? So many of you Haitians hang your hat on something that happened over 200 years ago.
When I think about what makes me proud to be Haitian, a few things always come to mind. First is our resilience. We've been through so much, but we always find a way to stand back up. Second is our history. We're the first independent Black nation that got its independence by force in the Western Hemisphere. 3, our culture. It's rich. Our food, our...
Y'all don't even understand what y'all doing. Y'all hating on real.
Nigga, if you don't set your hard face having self up, come on, bro. You talking about, oh, y'all don't put in the work. Nigga, you cannot be talking about anybody putting in work. Have you seen the position Haiti is in? All the gang wars, all the violence. It's failing economically. It's failing in all the categories. You cannot be talking about nobody putting work in.
If you put in so much work, nigga, then why can't you niggas get y'all country successful? You work harder than Black Americans, according to y'all, but why can't y'all country be successful? Also, y'all Caribbean niggas, y'all so proud to be Caribbean. You niggas so proud to be Haitian, but you niggas never in Haiti. You never in the Caribbean, never in Jamaica. How do you are so proud to be a Haitian / a Caribbean, but when it comes time for you to get sent back to your country, you don't want to go back to the country that you rep 24/7 and put in the work to get it to make it successful? Yeah, you damn right. People happy y'all getting sent back. Cause one, y'all come over here with this delineation mindset. If you do something good, it's Haitian excellence, it's Caribbean excellence. You do something negative, it's we're black. We're black as in Black American. Yes, if you're over here illegally, you have to go home. Protected by all this democratic stuff, yeah, go home. Look how fast that hatred for Black Americans came out you in this video. I'm like, y'all the niggas they be talking about. But not more respected than the foundation of Black Americans, sir. Not more respected. That's why y'all have to constantly cosplay to try to get some respect. ICE pull up, us F.B.A.s, we ain't gotta worry about ICE when they pull up. They pull up looking for you niggas, not us. They have not a damn thing to worry about. We're proud to be Haitian, but don't want to go back to your damn country that you're proud of, though. Okay, make it make sense, y'all.
Y'all, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. But I think, like I said in the beginning, I think all of the attacks on us is they want us to speak out on their behalf. That's what it's about. That's what it's about at the end of the day. And, they, I guess, got so much pride, they don't want to come out and say it. But if you really reflect back, the Latinos did the same thing. When ICE started coming all hard at them, they were all online crying for unity. I never heard them say black and brown so much in my life until they started getting rounded up by ICE. In fact, I never even heard them say it the whole time. I would hear it coming from our people, but I never heard it coming from them. Then when ICE was on that ass, all of a sudden, black and brown. Oh yeah, we were close. Black and brown. I was like, wait a minute, but they really wanted us on them streets fighting for them. That's what it was at the end of the day. They wanted us fighting for them. And now it's the Haitians. They're getting deported. ICE is coming around, or they have to put the ankle monitor on if they want to stay. If not, then they get deported. And look, they got offered $2,600. And if they would be deported back to Haiti. And apparently they don't want that money. They don't even want the $2,600 to go back. They want to stay. And, we have told the Latinos, and we're telling you, we're not immigrants. So dealing with ICE is really not our problem. And then you got this crazy notion that ICE is going to confuse us. All they got to do is listen to your voice. Trust me, your accent will give it away every single time. Y'all don't sound like us. Neither do the Latinos. Y'all got these, talking about they going to confuse, they ain't going to confuse nothing. And you ever notice the Caribbeans and the Africans are the biggest ones saying that? And every time you hear them saying it, they got a very prevalent accent. Like nobody's going to figure out that you're an African or you're a Caribbean. Listen to the way you sound. Of course, people know, and they will not confuse us. But they've been on that big time, especially now with the TPS. Oh, y'all gonna get deported too. No, actually, we are constitutional citizens. Okay, none of you are. None of you, not even the Puerto Ricans. They got citizenship through a bill being passed. Okay, So even their citizenship is not as solid as ours is. Our citizenship is solid. It is in the Constitution. Even the Puerto Ricans don't have that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody is thinking about these folks, you know? And I don't understand y'all coming from, all online, coming for the people with no culture. Y'all said we had no culture. And I'm still trying to figure out what your culture is. What is your culture? Y'all, and the funny part is, y'all, they get kicked out everywhere they go. Everywhere these folks go, they get kicked out. And nobody in the Caribbean wants them. Nobody. Every country is telling Donald Trump, every country over in the Caribbean is telling Donald Trump not to send Haitians. Send anybody else, but no Haitians. Don't send them. That says a lot. It says a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, I showed the other one, and this lady seems to think if they get deported, who's going to take their place at Walmart? Are you for real? Who's going to take your place at Walmart? Okay. Now y'all run Walmart? Okay. Somehow I don't believe that. So y'all, I'm going to...
Coffee. Follow me.